Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day of Super Dirt Cup here at Skagit Speedway. The Fan Fest kicks off from 2 to 4 p.m. However, we ask that you please do not put any of your belongings in front of the main gates. If you leave your belongings in front of the main gates, we will move them. So please help us out and do not leave your belongings in front of the main gate. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here at Skagit Speedway. It's going to be a good night. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dirt Cup pre-race show. Wade Onger, Eric Liss with you. The Fan Fest will kick off at 2, go 2 to 4. We're going to have a lot of fun guests joining us in those 2 hours, Wade. But you and I get to hang out here for a little bit, half an hour. And
happy Super Dirt Cup. What a beautiful day for it. Just a smattering of cloud cover that'll keep it from getting too toasty. But it is a perfect day to put a bow on what has been an epic 3 days of competition. And somebody is going to walk out of this place, more than likely a driver, with $100,026. Skagit Casino Resort presenting the 54th Jim Raper Memorial Super Dirt Cup.
And here's the cool thing to remember about that, too, is that's the purse. But there is lap money. So even if you lead one lap, you're still going to be getting more than over $100,000. So every lap has money. So there's going to be a lot of big money going out tonight, whether you're starting first or whether you made the A-main, wherever you are. It's going to be a lot of good money tonight.
So a lot of the teams are already set up outside in the merch area. I know that TK was wrestling a pancake bigger than a right rear mud cover before. He looked extremely happy about it. His boy Tannen is there. His beautiful partner Cherie is there as well. And there's a good chance that the governor for good times, Tim Kading, is just going to walk in and sit down with us in the next half an hour like he owns the joint. You can't rock on that thing. It needs some oil, Grandpa. This is an amazing facility. If you come here every week, you get it, right? You
100%.
Go, I get it. It's what I come to every week. But when I roll in once a year, I look at this facility and I see something new every single time. And it was a random thing to say when I spoke on Thursday for the first time, but the bathrooms are immaculate. It's like we're at Disneyland or in an NBA building. There's so much pride in this facility. And I think that when you walk around, if you look carefully, you'll see manicured lawns, you'll see bathrooms, you'll see concession stands, you'll see beer gardens with beach sand, you'll see party lights, you'll see coffee everywhere, you'll see amazing food, and you'll see pride in the uniform.
Yeah, it's all been behind the ownership that's just helped to build this up and everyone involved to make Skagit Speedway what it is, what it can be, and what it is now. And it's just continuing to grow and grow. And it's very exciting to see you talk about. We renovated, we've updated bathrooms. Just those little things are what makes the difference,
Oh, and I think the lighting, too. I don't know if you, again, because you're used to it. I was sitting down in Section A, it's like the Canadian section, but it's not, and watching the A-main last night. And the track lighting is just absolutely brilliant. Like, it's a very well lit facility, that is for sure. So everything, when you look around this place, you're just going to see improvement after improvement. And I really love the Super Dirt Cup merch this year as well. Every year, the rope hat, you'll notice the rope hat. That's one of, I think, John's favorites. But there's
your rope's
something
a little. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
A little help on your rope.
Hey, I got given a bootie before. Right?
It's for your. It's a koozie.
Well, it looks like, you could wear that as a shoe.
Oh, maybe for like a 3-year-old.
Well,
that's not going to fit my foot. That can fit your foot.
I saw a lot of 3-year-olds here. We were doing the Simba Cam earlier on.
Yes, we were.
But it's even got, on the back of it, it's got James McFadden doing the shoey underneath the shoey koozie. Is it called a shoezy?
It is now.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
It's going to be, now I need to work out where that's going to actually be. It's being sold in the merch, one of the merch trailers. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Today, we've got plenty of racing to come. We're going to have cars on track from 5:30 for engine heat. And then we're going to work our way through a series of qualifiers, not qualifying, qualifiers.
Yep.
And we have pole shuffles. We have preliminary mains. We have so much to do. And someone is going to be crowned. Is it going to be Trey Starks back to back?
He's going to have some work to do, Wade. Now, if anyone knows how to get around Skagit Speedway, it's going to be Trey Starks. Trey, the defending champion, knows how to get around here. He's the 360 and 410 track champion in 2025 at Skagit Speedway. So you look at someone who knows how to get around Skagit Speedway, it's going to be Trey, but he's got his work cut out for him. He's outside the top 10 in points. So you've got to really work through your qualifiers. But if you win your qualifier, you're into the pole shuffle. And Trey Starks, he could do that.
If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me, did we find Rico's hat? Who found Rico's hat? Who found the apple? Was it found? There's a lot of questions going on about that. I saw Rico wandering through towards his merch area just then. Seems like everything he does, people just want to know.
And I'm glad you mentioned Rico. Don't miss it. Rico Abra will be stopping by the booth to hang out with us. He'll be here at 2:45. We've got plenty of driver guests scheduled. It's just so cool to see drivers engaging with fans. Rico Abra is one of the best ones. Tanner Holmes, another one that just knows the fan experience is what can really make racing, because The drivers aren't anything without the fans. And Rico Abreu is someone who understands that if he can build that fans, give back to the fans, it just grows the sport of sprint car racing as a whole.
Now, we're located, when you come into the grounds here, actually, we're located when you come in through the merchandise area, into the main gates area, just near where the 50-50 is set up. We are located with our pre-show right there, literally the exit to turn 4 of the actual speedway itself. So if you want to come through and we have our guests, you can be our live studio audience. You and I walked the track a little bit last night from the outside. What a monster cushion they served up.
I don't think I could ever run a curb like that. That was probably the biggest curb I've seen here at Skagit Speedway in recent history. And it was so fun to watch drivers just, especially coming out of 4, beat off that curb, drive down the front straightaway, because if you hit it right, you would get that drive. But you saw a lot of drivers, too, that would get in, and it was a big berm, and it would screw them up. And you would have to regroup down the front straightaway, and you could see the guy behind, if you hit it right, would close back in. It just made it challenging.
Well, I sat down in Section A right into Turn 1 when they come down into Turn 1. And nobody was running the cushion right from the entry point of the corner. They were sort of diamonding it a little bit, J-Mac in particular and Levi earlier. And then, of course, what a phenomenal drive from Brent Marks. But they were missing the entry of the cushion and sort of picking it up about a third of the way in and then just bouncing off it and driving through. And that's part of the art of being a sprint car racer. I think when you start out, you're always brave. You can always mat it. But when the track slicks off a little bit, that's when the finesse comes into it. And we heard Brent Marks talking about that about Levi last night, saying he wasn't running different parts of the racetrack, and I thought that's where maybe I can go. That'll be the difference, and Levi will learn that. That's just experience.
100%. And the best thing was, if your car worked up high, it worked up high, but also there was a bottom lane that works. You could roll the bottom and keep up with the guys up top. That's exactly what you want, a nice 2-lane racetrack. Find the finesse to run up top, find the finesse to run down low. And we were treated to a very good A-main last night.
Oh, mate, both nights.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, really.
Both nights have been phenomenal. And when you think about the occasion that we're going to rise to tonight, when there's over 100 grand on the line, we've talked about guys in the points. We can run through them very soon. The interesting part about this is that the guy that is second in points has not been on the podium on either of the first 2 nights. And what that proves is you've just got to be good in your qualifying, good in your heat, and just be consistent in your main. And that's why Brad Sweet is currently P2 in points.
Yeah, Brad Sweet's just been consistent. He's qualified well. He's heat raced well. You mentioned it. You just got to earn points, man. That's all you got to do. Every time you're on the track, whether it's passing cars, moving forward, finding something to give you that edge, and Brad Sweet has. You don't have to win. You don't have to be on the podium to put yourself in the best possible position come tonight.
You know, I feel like a lot of people still haven't been here. Like they've seen it online, they've watched the YouTube coverage, they've watched all the socials, and Skagit is very proactive with all the social media platforms. And of course they watch it on Flow Racing. But I feel a lot of people haven't put Destination Skagit into their GPS yet, and that includes my country. Most people end up in LA, go straight across the Midwest to Knoxville. Of course, it's for the Knoxville Nationals and the Month of Money and those incredible events, but not enough people make it to the Pacific Northwest, and I just want to urge you to do it. Fly to Seattle or fly to Bellingham out of LA or San Francisco. Come up, grab a rental car. Seattle is beautiful. It reminds me
really
a lot
is.
of Perth, my home city, where the water runs right through the city just there, and you got the Needle and just so many incredible tourism attractions. And then you take a drive through some of the most beautiful country anywhere in the US to come and visit this racetrack. I urge people to do it. Destination Skagit.
I'm surprised you mentioned Bellingham. I thought you might have a little PTSD from there last year. So it's good to see you've gotten over that. I'm proud of you. Have you gotten over losing last night?
Losing
in football?
Well, soccer. We're still in the competition.
Well,
and theoretically, we actually scored the first goal for you.
I told you this last night. It still counts on the scoreboard, does it not?
I know.
So
moving right along, we won the Thursday night preliminary of Super Dirt Cup with James McFadden. Let's talk about J-Mac for a moment, not because I've got the koozie, booty, or the shoozy here with me at the moment. P1 Safety Mike will love that. He's race suit provider. James looks very, very good right now. A win and a second place so far, and I feel like that 21 car is really coming into a world of its own.
Well, and talking with James through that heat race and through the A-main, they were working to get that car better. He wasn't overly happy where they were in the heat race. He felt like they were better, and then come to the main, they had made the right adjustments. But when you're starting up front, on a preliminary night, whether it's Thursday or Friday, it's not because you were the fastest guy. It's because you're in the invert. It's a top 16 car invert. So really the fastest and high point guy starting 16th. So with J-Mac starting on that front row, he wasn't in the high point. So he had to go out and either finish on the podium or win just to get those points. And that's what he did. And then backing it up with a second place last night is exactly what you need to do to, get those points.
We got 3 Tanners and we got 3 Levis. It's quite amazing.
Straight, right?
And the Tanners are absolutely ones to watch in both their forms. Let's talk about Tanner Holmes, who's been particularly consistent for sure. And is kind of a bit of a crowd favorite because, let's face it, he's reasonably close to home in the scheme of things.
He really is. And this is a track where Tanner Holmes has ran really well. You can look back to last year. It was Trey and Tanner. Trey led early in the final night, and then an open red came. They made a fueling change. Tanner was leading at that point. Trey was able to crack him back down, make the pass and run away. So Tanner Holmes knows how to get around Skagit Speedway. He always talks very highly of it. He's 4th in points, so he's that final lock into the pole shuffle. He's going to start no worse than 4th in the A-main. Tanner Holmes is what I'll be keeping an eye on when we go green.
Tanner Thorson has been unbelievably good as well. I feel like that car is absolutely a chance to score the biggest payday of his career.
Well, you talk about James McFadden and how he's had a good night and how Brad Sweet's had a good night but hasn't made the podium. I feel like it more coordinates with Brad Sweet or Tanner Thorson. You really haven't seen Tanner Thorson on the podium. You haven't heard a lot of him. He's just been consistently doing what he needs, kind of like Brad Sweet, earning those points every time he is on the track. He hasn't podiumed, but he's done what he's needed to do to put himself in the position he needs to be.
I feel like the ultimate under-the-radar guy has actually been Justin Sanders.
Well, and that's so... 100%, and it's funny to say that too because Justin Sanders is the NARC point leader. Justin Sanders is probably one of the fastest cars that has been on the West Coast, but he's definitely been under the radar a little bit when he's came into Super Dirt Cup this year. He's he's a Super Dirt Cup champion, so he's a guy that knows how to win this event. It's, again, just all about consistency, finding a way.
And when I say under the radar, I just mean he hasn't been flashy. We haven't seen, oh, wow, there's Justin. He's just been absolutely where he needed to be every time. Devin Borden's car's just rolling in, the Turbo Clean number 8. I got to say, he's impressed me as well. And
it's been so fun because we've been able to watch Devin Borden race weekly here at Skagit Speedway, and I think that just helps. When you're able to be here weekly, turning laps, turning time on the track that you're going to race for over $100,000, it just makes you feel more comfortable with your setup. And Devin Borden, is a guy that just has experience behind the wheel, Wade. You go back to his roots in Midwest where he's been racing. He was a champion out there. He's a guy that knows how to wheel a sprint car, and he's been doing it very well this weekend.
Obviously, Kading is still wrestling that giant pancake.
He must be. Where was that pancake from? IHOP? Did he say?
No, he didn't.
Right.
I think he got it from the breakfast. He said he was eyeing it off for about half an hour or something earlier on. So I don't know whether he'll get here before 2. He's on California time. We all know.
Aren't we all?
He operates in his own universe. We'll see if he actually even does turn up. Who have we got on the show for today as well, Eric? Because we do actually have guests that are booked in.
Yeah, so the exciting thing starting at 2 o'clock, Brent Marks will stop by, your points leader. He'll join us for 15 minutes. Darren Pittman supposed to stop by at 2:15. Justin Sanders will join us at 2:30. Rico Abreu at 2:45, and then Jet Barnes at 3. Brad Sweet scheduled for 3:15. Trey and Colin Starks at 3:30. That will be a fun one. A brother duel, driver, crew chief. The chance to talk with them. Levi Hillier at 3:45, and we'll wrap up at 4 o'clock. All tentative, all drivers had said yes, but of course, anything can happen. Those drivers get busy, so that is your tentative schedule.
Another impressive heat race winner just rolling in at the moment as well. Austin Wood did a nice job last night to hold out Brad Sweet in that heat race. He had a chance to have a crack at him in that interstate batteries restart zone, and the Woodman did a heck of a job.
You bring up the interstate batteries restart zone, and for Austin Wood, it really worked, and we saw it used numerous times last night in the A-main. What are your thoughts on something like that? Because
I love
really
it.
You don't see it. It's a lot of times you go back to racing in turn number 4, where the interstate batteries restart zone is different. It gets guys going on the back straightaway, and it just creates a different vibe.
Well, there's the interesting point. I heard it from 2 different perspectives. John Hager was one that said the restart happens right at the biggest crowd area in the facility, so you're pretty well courtside on the restart, right? But 100%. I had friends from Australia messaging me going, that is so cool. You do the restarts on the back stretch, which when you think about it, you go, you know what? I don't think I really see that many other places. It is generally, like you say, a cone on the front stretch somewhere, and you come off and you got to stay on that side of the cone. but we saw guys throwing massive sliders into turn 3. I know that Reitzel pulled a couple last night. Brad Sweet pulled a ripper during the main as well. You can make up good ground by the time you get to turn 3.
And that's why it's so exciting, because it allows those guys to build that speed, that momentum. And if you can time it up, you can slide again. That's what really helped Brent Marks get to the lead. He was able to pull up with Levi Hillier on the exit turn number 4 and then slide him going into turns 1 and 2 and pull away down the back straightaway. And that was all due to the back straightaway restart. Interstate batteries outrageously dependable.
I spoke to Chad Hillier last night. Levi's a very proud dad, and just asked him, you've got to be proud. You've got to be happy the way things are going. And he's very measured with it. He's very, very proud, of course, as you would be, but I think he's also seeing him as a driver as well as he is as his son. But it was very cool to watch last night, the interaction between the fans and Levi. He actually is I'm not going to say he's a barista.
I saw your little video, him and
He
Justin
did make me my blended ice mocha yesterday.
Mocha?
He's sponsored by the coffee trailer, yeah?
Yeah.
Golden Buckle, I think it
Golden
is.
Buckle Espresso, 100%.
Yeah, and he signed the cup for me and all that stuff. So I feel like we all know that's coming. One day that big moment is coming. Is that tonight? I don't know that he's ready to win a race like that just yet. And I don't mean that he's not fast enough. I just mean the occasion is massive. And I think you have to learn to win big races. And I'm happy for him to prove me wrong.
And again, he's one who will be stopping by here to end the show. He's going to be starting 10th in points to start the night, so he'll be in a qualifier, but he'll be towards one of the front of those qualifiers. The top 4 from the qualifiers will advance to the A-Main, and then the winners go on to the pole shuffle. So Levi Hillier is going to have a good shot to lock himself into the A-Main, and he'll be fun to watch.
And if Levi or any of the team can hear us, we'd love Chad to drop by as well when we have Levi with us as a guest. It'd be cool to have his dad, who was a heck of a racer as
100%.
well, and actually raced down in Australia, which is where his wife, Cassandra, is originally from Sydney. Her home track was Parramatta City Raceway, where the Outlaws Down Under famously competed a long time ago under the watchful eye of Brian Healy, the then promoter from Sacramento and Australia. He was kind of dual citizen.
Yep.
So you go a long way back to guys like that raced, and Chad was one of the guys that raced in Australia. It's gone 360 degrees now.
It's been so cool to see that Levi's just been growing up, and it's been fun to watch because I was able to watch him grow up at Deming Speedway, racing the 600s, and watch his progression here to Skagit Speedway, into the 360s, and then his first year in the 410s. The kid's got a lot of talent.
I was looking with interest at the social media comments last night about Rico and the incident with Jet Barnes. Nothing in that. I think we both know Rico well enough that he went over and offered him some advice and said, just need to be doing this, make sure you finish. That's the big thing about finishing. That's the difference. If you go back in the day to the Jack Hewitt days and people of that ilk, the Brent Kadings of the world, they would come over and let you know about it. But I think it was a very different discussion. Jet Barnes, let's face it, he's in a Jason Myers car. So to start with, he's already been recognised by a very credible figure and an incredibly talented race car driver in the day as well. So you know he's got talent. You don't just buy a ride in the 14 car.
No, you just don't buy a ride at all. And it was cool. Rico Aber made a post on Facebook talking about what he talked about with Jet. And I think it's one of the things we can ask him is, hey, what was that conversation like between you and Jet? Because, yeah, it was a conversation of growth. It wasn't Rico going over and cussing him out and saying, hey, why'd you do that? It was a, hey, you're learning, you're growing. I think it'll be a good thing to ask Rico about.
When you sit in the stands, like 99% of people do, you just watch the sheer speed of these kids and you go, how do you get such a sense of balance in a race car when you're 15 or 16 years old? All they're lacking is laps. They have an understanding of how the car works, but they haven't had experience across a wide variety of track conditions. And the only way you learn is from being in that moment or making those mistakes or finding out where the limit is that you just crossed. I'm excited about seeing those teenagers and how they fare tonight as well. Reitzel, we know he's going to be coming. We certainly expect that. Justin Peck back in 16th at the moment. Max Mitri back in 17th last night. Colton Heath has been racy.
Yeah, Colton Heath's been good. He's made the main. He's been running, and you want to look at the local cars. Colton Heath is a solid 410 local car. He always runs up front. He's always knocking on the door of the win. So I'm not surprised that Colton Heath has been making the mains and running as well as he has been.
Mackie. I love the way Mackie gets after it. He's a good mate of yours, of course. He has been very, very smooth. Last night, a little unlucky, but certainly got some speed.
I was talking to Colin. I think that is the best I've seen him in a 410, the most comfortable he looks, the most comfortable that setup looked for him to drive, and he was moving forward. He started 17th and was able to slowly chug his way forward up into about the top 10 before getting in some contact with Aaron Reitzel, but they still ended up to finish 12th, so it's been good to see. And he raced Dirt Cup last year, but this is really kind of his first full 3 days, and it's good to see he's having success.
Darren Pittman, so cool to have Pitto here at the Super Dirt Cup, and even cooler as well to have Don Kreitz here at the 69K, openly admitting this is the furthest the 69K has been from its home base in Pennsylvania. Darren, very, very smooth, extremely accomplished, very well credentialed, and certainly a guy who understands how to keep a race car under him until the very end. It would not surprise me if Darren Pittman is right there at the end of tonight.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And talking with Darren, if they can float the middle and if he can just kind of roll around Skagit Speedway, that's where he's the most comfortable. If he can just get that car to where he needs to be, he knows how to get around Skagit Speedway. He's won here before. He has that experience, and it's going to pay dividends for him.
Dominic Scelzi, one of the most important characters in American sprint car racing, Dom Scelzi, just the way he reacts with fans, the way he interacts with people, the way he verbalizes things. He's passionate enough. He's got his dad's temper when he needs to have it, but he's got a global understanding of the sport and where he fits in it. And anytime I see the 41 car at a race that I'm at, I'm always grateful for it.
100%. It's just so cool to see that car here and doing what it does.
Dominic Gordon, I thought was impressive last night and the night before in the 10 car.
Yeah, Dominic Gordon has been good. I mean, he's come to Skagit Speedway before. He's had success, so he knows what it takes to get around. And he's one of those guys that's just been moving forward. He had a better night 2 than he did night 1.
DJ Neto, if you go back to the Thursday night, he led for some 15 laps or so of the first main event on Thursday night before they had issues with the nozzle in the 88. Now, J-Mac had relieved him of the responsibility of leading by that point.
I like how you say that.
However, that car has been bullet fast. So he currently, DJ, is sitting in around about 22nd at the moment. So not where he needs to be, but he does have the speed.
He does have the speed, and he's a local Californian that comes up here and runs with NARC, runs at Skagit Speedway for events like this. So he's a guy that if you can get things to go right, will work out for him.
Landon Brooks back in that 23rd position at the moment. Cy Lynch is 24th. Jason Solwald, there's a guy with enormous credentials around this particular racetrack, 25th in points right now.
Well, and it was a tough night last night for Jason Solwald. He made the A-main and then had a left rear go down, and the crew struggled to get that left rear tire off. They worked, and they worked past that allotted 2 minutes. They still had a little bit of time. They finally got the tire off, but the time they did, the field was going back to green flag. So unfortunately, bad luck struck Jason Solwald.
We're just watching cars rolling in behind our camera shot at the moment. The Justin Peck, Radine, Hager Realty, number 26 car. On Thursday night, I watched Justin and Levi swap for position for most of the main event. It was like, wow. It was like seeing double at one point there as well. You have to feel that Justin realizes he's going to really have to get after this tonight. 16th in points currently.
And that's anyone who's really not in that top 5 are going to have to get after, because this field is stacked. We've seen loaded B-mains both preliminary nights. So for them to come in, it's not going to be a cakewalk. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to work hard to make the A-main.
12th in points right now, and has really impressed me, the X1 of Chance Grasty. Good-looking hot rod and a very, very good hustler.
Yeah, Chance Grassie's been good in his first appearance at Skagit Speedway. He's been really fun to watch. He's been hustling, he's been working, and he's one of those young talents that's just growed up on the West Coast and is really making a name for himself.
Max Mitri. Max is currently 17th in the 2XM. Also a guy we want to keep an eye on as he continues his growth in the sport. Has run some non-wing competition as well as, of course, with the wing. But Max used to play baseball back in the day. He's a pretty cruisy cat. He hung out with us a bit at the golf day back on Wednesday. And I think that Max definitely looking to stay inside that top 20 by the time we get to A-Main.
Yeah, and he's got a good crew behind him. You know, he's with that Justin Sanders team, the Mitri Motorsports. So he's got a good car. He's putting it all together. He picked up his first 410 win this year. So Max Mitri is coming together well.
26th in points right now is Bud Kading. Last night was not the same night for him as it was on Thursday. He was extremely speedy. In fact, was inside the top 3 the other night, ran extremely strongly. It was good to see the 29 car up and about with some really good speed.
It was, and it was fun to watch just what he's able to do. We talked to him, when he found the podium, he was excited. He was very happy to be on that podium Thursday night, and it's just good to see that car run well.
All right, question without notice. If you had to vote for Alex Brown in a beauty contest, would you say 11, maybe 12 out of 10, I would think?
I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say so.
So I don't think an 8 is anywhere near where it needs to be. Just to retell that story, and we'll do it ad nauseum until Alex says I can't anymore, that Justin Peck voted an 8 for her, apparently. He gave a 12 for personality, but I don't think that really counts, Justin. I don't think that's what she was looking for.
You're getting no help. Sorry, Justin.
Alex is going to have my vote all day, every day. I'm not even going to mention the word 6. There we go. It's all about that little love heart thing. Breeze has picked up a little bit here, which I think is going to keep conditions cool tonight.
It will, and it'll be interesting because it's going to dry out the track a little bit, so that wind just kind of pulls that moisture out. So it's going to be really getting moisture back on that track, and it'll be fun to see how the track develops and what type of lines we get come main time.
And we watched literally last night while the podium was on. Eric the Sheepfoot was out packing and pounding down that racetrack immediately last night. I'm pretty sure this team worked throughout the night. When we got here today, they were dumping more and more water into the track, and they'll be doing that. It looks cherry right now. I've got to say that track looks absolutely cherry ripe. Crowd is starting to fill in. I can see some drivers already over there starting to sign some autographs. Just as you first come in to the fan zone, there's basketball over there as well. There's hoops to be shot.
There's even a dunk tank there, Wade. I think we should get you in that.
A dunk tank?
There was a dunk tank I saw getting set up.
That's great. How about the dance comp stuff last night? That kind of got a bit...
I saw Outlaw around here somewhere.
That was like America's Got Talent.
That was.
Crazy time. Our first guest is coming up very soon for our live show to kick things off and get some driver perspectives on what's happening here. This is the 54th. Oh, CC is here. Can we please get CC on camera? So this would be the most famous golden retriever in the world, named after Caitlin Clark. Blake Anderson has this beautiful puppy dog. Come on, CC. Come on.
Hi, CC.
Come on. Happy get up on Uncle Eric's lap. Come on.
No.
CC is amazing. Oh, she's getting bigger too. Mind you, she's never going to be a Great Dane. She's compact. Blake is wearing a super cool shirt, by the way. He's got a Casey Luna shirt on. The Casey Luna Ford was absolutely iconic in sprint car racing for decades. And when Vivarin was a sponsor with Dave Blaney running that car, there's so many people that drove it over the years, but it's certainly iconic. And it's cool to see so many retro shirts out and about here today as well.
I know, it's so fun to see those retro shirts, and I really wish I could have grown up in more of that area. Because, I mean, the era of sprint car racing we're in right now is phenomenal. But just hearing about some of those legends, hearing about some of those guys.
I reckon I can see the Starks family rolling in. I'm just saying, she looks amazing too, Trey. You're a lucky man, mate. Look at all he's doing is pushing the stroller. He's just living it easy. You know, Mrs. Starks' social media is more interesting than Trey's. I just got to say, it's a little bit more lifestyle-based. You know what I'm saying? Trey's very quiet. He just lives his life, like stay out of my way. He does his talking
on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's true. I'm looking forward to getting into his head a little bit later on with Colin as well. Look at the little guy. What are the chances that he'll play golf one day, you think? Yes, so Mum is hoping for golf. She's hoping racing doesn't even come up on the radar. It's way cheaper to buy a golf club than it is to buy a 410. He's a handsome little guy. Thank gosh he looks like Mum. Oh, CC's all about it. Well, he's not really napping. All right, so our first guest is due here very shortly.
Yes, he should be able to chat with Brent, and he said he would be able to stop by for 2. Now, if anything happens, it is understandable, but chatted with Brent Marks last night, and he said, yep, he should be able to stop by.
Come on, CC. Come on, up here. CC. No, you're going to have to pick her up, Blake. You're going to have to scoop her up. Come on. Hey, CC. This is the most beautiful. This is CC, named after Caitlin Clark. When he gets the second one, second one's going to be called Sophie. Sophie Cunningham, just in case you were wondering. Well, here we go. Oh, are you in there? Can I see? We got her in the shot. Just want to get a quick look at it.
Hang on, we'll let it load here.
Where
for a second.
she is? She's so beautiful.
Oh, yeah, she's in the shot.
Hi, CC. So she's staying up here at the Hillier Ranch as well. Yeah. Oh, Bloomenhagen's. All righty. Hey, pop it down here for a second. Let's just grab Balake for a minute because he's an amazing authority on area. Hi, CC. Right, yeah. It's just mate, you must be so proud of what this facility has always been, but what it's becoming, Blake.
Yeah, we've got a great team in place. We work 52 weeks a year on this event and plan, and we'll start planning for this event next week. And it's been rewarding this week. We've had an incredible car count, 53 cars, and incredible crowds. The crowds are up, the cars are up, everything's up, which is great, and we appreciate everyone coming out for this race. It means the world to see people come from all over the world to this race.
You're wearing a Casey Luna shirt, which I thought was super cool, and I was just saying to Eric, it's cool to see the industry thriving, and Eric said, I wish I'd lived in that era. I'm like, no, I think you've got it pretty good in this era as well.
Oh, you look at this cars that we've got in this era. I mean, people talking about how deep the talent was at Dirt Cup back in the 70s, and I think especially this year's crowd, you look at this year's field, I think this is one we're going to look back on in 30 years and say, wow, the field at Dirt Cup in 2026 and hopefully 27, 28, 29, incredible.
Well, I mean, you and I are the nostalgics in this area. We were both looking at basically Bud Kading and Darren Pittman and thinking Donnie Kreitz is in the pits, Kevin Swindell's in the pits. It's like, it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I thought seeing the 69K race, again, calling a lot of 69K races in central Pennsylvania through the years, I never thought we'd see them west of Knoxville, Iowa, let alone on the West Coast, 7 miles from the Sound here at Skagit Speedway. I mean, that's wild. And you look, Bud Kading, him running second on Thursday and nearly winning. How awesome is that?
Do you think, Blake, that not enough people yet have discovered Skagit? Because I feel like, I know the Aussies don't. Aussies, you land in LA and you turn hard right and you head east, right? Go to the Midwest to watch Knoxville. But I think so many people need to come here and experience this venue.
Yeah, that's what we're working to change. We're working to change so everyone around the world knows Skagit Speedway. I think we've worked really hard on social media. We're on YouTube for free every Saturday night, so you don't even have to pay a pay-per-view or a subscription to watch our racing. You can just hop on youtube.com. Everyone's got it, the availability to go. So that's part of it, and we're working so hard that everyone knows Skagit Speedway. I think it's working. I mean, we're seeing our growth expand. We're seeing, we look at our analytics on our social media, and that's really growing, and where we're reaching fans is awesome.
I think so too, mate. It's a credit to you and John and Kevin and Lisa and everybody that works in this group. There's just a constant need to improve. We have those production meetings, the team meetings every day, and John's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing better? How can we be better?
I look at our team meetings, and John's like the coach. He kind of gives us what we need to do, but then hypes you up to go do it as well. It's got a way of building you up and encouraging you and patting you on the back, and it's rewarding.
Absolutely. It's kind of like Disneyland, right?
Yeah, that's our goal here. John loves Disneyland. We all got a book 2 years ago when we have a speaker from a guy that worked at Disneyland. That incredible. Create that experience, that welcoming experience. We appreciate all you fans for coming out. Make sure you go get some autographs. And it's going to be a great night of racing. You guys have a great guy sitting next to you, a guy that has come here for 2 years in a row. And we super appreciate Brent making the long tow out here. And watching him win from 11th last night was pretty impressive.
We even got him wow, some Pennsylvania fans. Got the white socks. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good. Always good to see you, Wado. Brent, congrats. Eric, keep him in line.
Yeah,
we got him.
We'll try.
Did we get him the rocking chair deliberately? Brent, congratulations, mate. Last night was a great drive for you. Very calculated. I feel like you're extremely confident in your race car.
Yeah, definitely. It's really fun to drive right now, and I felt like we can just kind of run all over the racetrack and utilize it to its maximum potential there. So, just how about the Skagit Speedway crew for this track surface this week? I mean, it's been a lot of fun and super racy all throughout the night, the heat races and just everything. It's just been pretty fun.
Wayne and I were talking about that earlier and how big that berm was, coming off 4, but also just coming off 2. What is it like to run that berm?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky, I just, try to be aggressive on it, but at the same time, not too aggressive because I feel like it can eat you up pretty fast. So, I just trying to maneuver the best I could, and I was trying to make the bottom work more in 3 and 4 throughout the entire race, as much of the race as I could, just to minimize, any mistakes that I could potentially make. So, but once we got to the lead, just kind of started building momentum and just being kind of running my own race there and just using my head the best I could. So, you got to be careful with when cushions get big like that because they can eat you up pretty fast. And if you don't keep the wheels spinning, you're in trouble. So felt like I did a good job on that last night. Didn't overdrive the car, didn't push it too hard, and just minimize the mistakes.
In the original Top Gun movie, there was Jester and Viper and Maverick, right? And Maverick was the young gun that was flying by the seat of his pants, and they were just waiting for him to make that mistake. I felt like last night you had that kid in front. You're like, come on, kid. Like, you had to know, and I think you made the point he didn't go many other places on the racetrack. So were you always sizing up where you could be quicker?
Yeah, I mean, that was one benefit of running second sometimes is you can try different things, than what the leader's doing. So he's obviously out there, knowing that, he feels like his pace is good enough to keep the lead. But, I'm in that position where I can move around a little bit and try some different things. But, it's just, I was young once doing this, and, it's just fun to get up there and rip the cushion and run as hard as you can. But at the end of the day, sometimes moving around just is more beneficial. So, I think, if I was in his position, I probably would have been doing the same thing. Just, I would feel comfortable up top, feel like my pace is good, and really any reason to move around. So, sometimes being second's better. But, we just, just felt like I was able to size him up there a little bit and move around a little bit, see where I could potentially make the pass on him, and fortunately for me, the restarts were really good. So I feel like I was able to progress throughout the field on those restarts, and then once I got in position, just kind of ride around and try to be there at the end. So it all worked out for us really well last night. Car was excellent, and starting 11th, there's some really good cars in front of us, and I know how hard this is. So, realistically, my goals were points-wise, just try to get around that top 5 there. I feel like we would have got around 5th. We would have been looking pretty sharp tonight for points. And next thing you know, I'm in 5th, and then 3rd, and then 2nd. I'm like, okay, we got a legit shot at this. So, it worked out pretty well.
It's really cool to have the 69K here. As a proud East Coast, as a PA guy, how cool when that thing rolls in and Don, as they call him these days, is just. I was looking for. It would be nice to have had Davey here as well. That would have completely completed it. But how significant is it that you've got the 69K to run against this weekend?
I was shocked. I'm sure everybody else was when I seen that posted online. I was like, "What the hell?" So I was not expecting the 69K to come out here. But no, it's awesome to see them travel from Pennsylvania all the way out here. We know all too well what that drive is like. So it's a lot of windshield time. But get to see some beautiful parts of the country, and it's really worth it. So love coming out here to Skagit. I do, and I think them coming out here for the first time and just seeing the facility and being a part of the event, might make them want to continue to come out here. So I feel like they've done a great job this week. Obviously never being here before, and Darren's got some laps here, and Darren's been doing a good job behind the wheel to 69K. So. It's just it's great to see them come out, and great to see support for Dirt Cup from racers and teams throughout the entire country, and what we're up like 54 cars this week. That's awesome for sprint car racing in Washington. So it's really cool.
Wade and I were chatting about that back straight or restart, and the restart was where you made your move on Levi Hillier. And there's really not a lot of tracks where you start on the back straightaway. Is it a difference when you have to come in? Do you kind of have to get used to that because you're used to kind of starting out of turn 4 and having that cone?
Yeah, it is. It's just a different mentality a little bit there. Back when I was a kid, Williams Grove used to start on the back stretch, and I remember watching some old videos of that and just thought it was really cool. So to be able to experience that in my career here at Skagit, I think it's different, and I like it. We're always so used to starting off turn 4, and everybody's just kind of in this the same position there, and you really can't do much until you get to turn 1 and 2 and let things sort out. But you can kind of get creative and kind of size guys up and use your head a little bit on restart on the backstretch like that. So I think it's very unique, and I honestly really like it. So you can outsmart guys, and I think that's what I like about it. It's just where you start. If you start too far back, so like last night, when I got the lead there and we had that restart, I waited as long as I could because I felt like if I would have started sooner, then James would have had momentum going into 3 and being able to rip the top. But I waited as long as I could, so he had no momentum, and he was kind of forced to follow me. So it's kind of cool how you can change things up a little bit there. But when you're starting out of turn 4, it's just, it's all the same. There's really nothing you can do different, maybe besides just start the race a little early. But, everybody kind of does that now and expects it. So I just like that part of it.
I love the different personalities in our sport, Brent. You're very much a I dance on the inside kind of guy. You're not outwardly emotional. Last night, you're up on the wing dance and waiting for the fireworks. You're kind of like, all right, can I get down now? It's like you really don't want to be up there. James is up there drinking beer out of a boot, and you're kind of like, can I just go now? And PA is more of a J-Mac drinker shoey kind of place, right? But I love that the people of the Northwest up here are just as passionate as PA Posse fans. They just react differently. The passion is the same, location's different.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually telling my wife yesterday, I said, I think I might have more fans up here in Washington than I do in Pennsylvania. So, no, it's just great, the support that, the fans give us, as drivers and teams to be here. Everybody's so appreciative of us coming out here, and I love that part about it. So, but yeah, no, as far as my personality goes, I'm definitely more of a shy personality type. I've been like that ever since I was a kid, and I've opened up a lot, the older I get, but still not quite to the point of just chugging a beer on top of the wing like James is. So
I can see you like sipping a coffee or something, like just having a sip of a latte or something.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not that type of person, but no, man, it's just, I just know the stakes that we have this weekend, and we're super excited we won last night, but, we're here for tonight. So, yeah, like I said, we were excited we won last night, but, as soon as the checkered falls, I was thinking about tonight and where we need to be, and if we need to get a little bit better with the car, what we need to change there. So, yeah, we're in a great position tonight. The worst we can start, I think, is second. So we've got that pole shuffle tonight. So, we're going to be on the front row, and
so how important is lane choice going to be? Are you going to rip it in the pole shuffle?
Yeah, I'm going to see what the track, what it looks like, and kind of pick where I think we need to be. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's just obviously we want to start on the pole, but like I said, sometimes running second's better too. So it's a strategy game too. So we'll see. It's a long race, big stakes, and we're gonna give it our all. So it's definitely 150% tonight.
Last night was phenomenal. Hindsight's always 20/20. You talk about it. Where do you feel like you maybe could still be better for coming in tonight?
I know on Thursday I just felt like I needed to attack the entry of the corner a little bit harder, and felt like I improved that last night. Like I said, we talked about earlier with the cushion, it gets really big here, and it's very treacherous, and it can eat you up really fast. I mean, you've seen it with Aaron on Thursday, in turn 1 and 2 there. So, and, a couple guys last night just watching the highlight videos, just kind of getting snookered up there, and it's, crashing their cars. And so you want to be careful as much as you can, but you got to be as aggressive as you can too. So, because if you're not, aggressive enough, that could still get you in trouble. So it's a double-edged sword a little bit, just kind of playing the race out and, being smart about it. So I just, we just need to make sure our car maneuvers, top and bottom, we can move around, and we're not so reliant on one part of the racetrack. And we were like that last night. So we just need to try to repeat that tonight. And I'm sure things will be a little bit different tonight with the track, a little bit longer race. They're probably going to do a little bit of reworking before the feature, I'm assuming. So we just have to make the right choices, with the car and myself behind the wheel. So, yeah, I'm just excited about it, man. Just looking forward to it. We're in a great starting position, and we just got to go out there and run our own race.
He's just so damn likable, isn't it? You can't even not like him. Brent, it's always good to see you here, mate. Good luck to you. I hope you take $100,000 out of this place. Put your hands together for Brent Marks, everybody.
All right, Wade, would you like to slide down a little bit? And we'll get our next guest in here.
Perfectly punctual, too. Rolled in at like 2:13, ready for his 2:15 appointment. So cool to see this guy here. Please welcome Darren Pittman, everybody. Big round of applause for Darren. We were just talking with a guy that is so flatline. I know you got the rocking chair, mate. Yeah, From Brent Marks to Darren Pittman, I feel like you're quite similar in your, I don't want to say flatline, but you're very measured, Darren, and you always have been. It's so cool to see you and Donnie Kreitz here.
Oh, it's good to be here. Yeah, I would agree. I think me and Brent have a similar temperament. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. It can has its pluses and minuses, but yeah, no, good to be here. I honestly just happy to be able to come out here and run. I've always enjoyed coming to Skagit, one of our most beautiful parts of the country, and so coming to the Pacific Northwest has always been one of mine and my wife's and our whole family's favorite times of the year. So yeah, to say that I was coming in the 69K, the very definition of the porch race car is definitely kind of a little bit of ironic statement. So just glad to be here, and so far it's been a pretty solid week. Just hoping we can finish it off a little bit better.
What's Donnie been saying about his first time out here? Has he been enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's actually kind of funny when I got here. Again, I've raced for him for a couple of years, but he's pretty guarded, and I don't know that I know him that well personally, you know, than from a professional and racing standpoint. And I kind of just sensed he was really nervous when I got here on Thursday. And first thing he said was like, man, this place is really small. Like, it's really small. And so I think that just he's out of his comfort zone, and he's extremely, you know, confident and comfortable with the, you know, the racetracks that he takes the 69K to. And I think he's very particular about the places that he takes it to make sure that it performs well. And so I could just tell he seemed uncomfortable, and he just didn't really know, you know, how it was going to go. So I think after the first night, I felt like we competed really well and were in the hunt all night long. I thought he was a little more relaxed last night and more confident that, you know, we do have a car that's capable of winning.
As a driver who's run here and won here yourself, how do you help make him comfortable that, you know, hey, sure, this is a smaller track than what you're used to, but we're okay. You've got the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've just done a lot more traveling, and so I'm more – he's very confident, again, in what his car and how it works at Williams Grove and what the changes that they need to make to be good at Williams Grove, Port Royal, Sealands Grove. I mean, the places that the 69K is known to excel at. I've done a lot more traveling, and I'm more comfortable in knowing, like, hey, when my car is good and we've been on, you know, hot streaks of winning and running well, that I don't care if we're going to a half mile, and I don't care if we're going to a quarter mile. We don't change cars. Like, when you hit on something and your car's good and your car's fast, it's fast everywhere. And so you know, I was confident coming here that his car would be good, because to me a fast race car is a fast race car no matter what type of racetrack it's going to. So I think that he just wasn't used to that. I think he has a little bit of the mentality that there's a secret for every single racetrack, and there's definitely some particulars that work at certain places that don't. So I think me just giving him feedback as far as, hey, you always time trial around the bottom here in 1 and 2, and you know the top is pretty dominant in 3 and 4 typically as the race goes on. So I could kind of give him some, you know, I guess how the races typically play out here if things go as usual. And so that kind of, you know, he just kind of relied on me for some feedback as far as, no, we don't have to sell out to be good knocking the fence down, because that's not what that car does well. That's not what I do well. And so I think when he realized that that wasn't what it was going to have to take to win, that very well may be what wins $100,000 tonight, and that percentages of that are pretty high. But there are other ways to be fast here.
You're going to look at me weird when I say this, but there's a pair of kids a third of your age out there ripping the top, just like they should be when they're teenagers. You would remember what it's like to be that guy. When you're running with those kids, do you get a moment to think, yeah, I remember like what that was like, but I'm gonna outsmart you, because that's what you're gonna have on your side, right?
Well, you can for a 40 lap and a 30 lap race. I mean, so I've got Jet Barnes on the outside of me of the T race, and I mean, yeah, maybe I can outsmart him on the start, but it's a 10-lap race. I mean, it's a full-fledged, you know, you're not going to outsmart a kid for 10 laps, and it's not going to be probably that technical of a racetrack at that point of the race. So it's going to be about who wins the start and who gets going, and who can run the best clean 10 laps if they get out front first. So, yeah, I think experience and age, temperament sets in on the longer, slicker, more technical racetracks like last night, and that kind of bodes for, you know, guys like Brent Marks and myself and some Brad Sweet and some of the guys that have been doing it a long time. But it's fun to watch these kids. I don't understand how they do it. I don't even know how they're even actually capable of holding onto a steering wheel for 40 laps on a place this place can be pretty demanding when it's wet. And so, but they do it, and they look very comfortable doing it. I wish I had either the guts and the talent that they did at that age, because I know I wasn't at that level, and I don't think anybody was in my generation. There was no such thing as a kid that was 14, 15, 16 coming out here and winning races like him and Ryan Timms and Levi Hillier and some. I mean, it's not just like one phenom. I mean, there's and I mean, forget. I mean, Corey Day's become the old young guy. I mean, what is he, 18? And he's like the oldest young phenom that we've seen. So it's crazy, and it's fun to watch. It's a great time, as obviously in the end of my career. Sprint car racing is in a healthy spot as far as the talent level goes, and it's fun to, you know, sit at home and watch on Flow and Dirt Vision and see what these young kids are capable to do at such a young age.
What type of advice do you give to kids at that age?
Slow down. Let the old guy through.
Yeah, 100%. Well, no, it is. I mean, there's I think the racing has changed. I mean, I think, Buddy Kofoid and Corey Day and some of these kids, they've managed to, nobody, I think, growing up, like Steve Kinzer, Shaman Swindell, Donnie Schatz, the guys that I raced with and learned against, I don't think we set the pace that these kids do. And it was not for a 40-lap race. And so, rules were different, tires were different. There was a lot of management that used to go into racing back then that's just not there. The tires are harder. There's no such thing as saving tires, and these kids can go out there and run 40 laps wide open hard, and they don't even think about, am I hurting my tire for the last 10 laps or not? So, yeah, there's a lot of racetracks that I think experience, they'll just learn that sometimes going slower is faster. Sometimes if you're racing for a win, it's, the gloves are off, right? But sometimes 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, like, do I really need to wear this guy out and tear up 2 perfectly good race cars for a $400 spot and then potentially create a relationship with a driver that can take a long time to recover from? So there's a lot that goes into it. I grew up having to fix work on my own cars and pay for my own cars, and so this sport is extremely expensive, and so I didn't want to tear up my own equipment. I definitely didn't want to tear up somebody else's. And these kids these days, they race with no regard, it seems like, for some of that. And that's one thing that makes them successful. It's one thing that's fun to make them watch from the grandstands. But from a competitor, to go out there and tear up good cars for, a 12th or 13th place position kind of is a head scratcher that you want them to, like, hey, like, can you learn from this? Sometimes it's not about winning, it's about making laps and getting just more experience to learn and be better the next time.
It's some kids have a PhD, parents have dough. That's sometimes the way that college degree in sprint cars works. Darren, I was the other night you were having a late supper, just sitting there by yourself in the casino when I come up and bugged you, but it would seem to be a glamorous world, mate. Wings everywhere, flashing lights, T-shirt sales, $100,000 to win. The reality is very different for life on the road, mate. I watched Tanner Holmes walk into the Book 13 trailer yesterday thinking, I wonder what that's like sometimes when you wonder, am I still happy here? Do they still want me here? Not Tanner, but you've driven for a number of team owners. You went from your own family deal to, what's it like to have to continue to deliver, not just for you to earn a living, but for the team?
When racing is the highs and lows of racing, I don't think anybody from the grandstands that hasn't participated or done it as a job can understand. There is nothing better than being successful, winning races on the biggest stages against the toughest competition. There is not a high that you're ever going to find in life like it. And at the same time, there's probably not any lows that knowing, like, we aren't running good, I'm not making any money, it's expensive to go up and down the road. You go into your trailer, the team's already dejected, if you haven't been running well. You obviously everybody wants to show up with a fresh mindset, but when, you're not even running top 10s or top 5s, it's hard to be encouraged to show up every night going, man, like, we're hoping to make the race. So it's difficult. I mean, like, when I did it full time, I didn't have another job that I was, working during the week or had a backup income. I mean, you have 3 months in the wintertime that either you go to Australia and race or you don't get paid. And then, when the months are good, you better save and make them good because you don't know what the next few months are going to be like. So it's there's a lot of stress that goes into, again, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. This sport has been incredibly good to me, and I have had an amazing career that I'm incredibly proud of. And, again, it's given a lot to me and my family. But the tough years are tough. I mean, the tough weeks, the tough months, it's a humbling sport. And, again, you just always try to ride through those to get to the next high. And take advantage of them and enjoy them when you're there because, as you know, I think, one of Reeves' famous lines was, you're going to lose way more races than you're going to win, so you better enjoy the wins when you do get them.
I want your American fans to understand the impact you've had on Australian racing. The Australian equivalent of World of Outlaws is the World Series Sprint Cars, much smaller, condensed schedule. Darren is the only American in the history of World Series Sprint Cars to have won that championship. It's always been won by an Aussie. I don't know where that fits up on, you don't have to blow smoke, but in my world, that is an incredibly significant achievement.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the highlights of my career for sure. I mean, there's obviously, you have your highlight wins that are huge, and then obviously winning a World of Outlaw Championship is at the peak of my accomplishments. But winning, and I was doing it. Obviously, World Series is no longer, so obviously it's nothing that's going to get nobody else will. But I mean, Donnie Schatz was pretty much at the peak of his, or well, at the early part of his peak of his career when he attempted it, multiple times and wasn't successful. So there's not really anything that I have over Donnie when it comes to a stat sheet. That's probably the only one, and he could obviously care less about that with the amount of accomplishments that he's gained in this sport. But it's definitely something that I take a lot of pride in. And to just be able to do it for, Australia, for Reeve, with Gleno, with the team that we did it with, was something I'm extremely proud of.
Eric, I have this really funny story of Darren.
Please.
We're at this little place called Swan Hill. It was the dustiest racetrack. I think at the end they were racing on the infield. The ambulance guy had to shut the ambulance door because Robbie Farr and Pitto were racing so far on the infield. And I'm telling the fans all night, Darren Pittman and Robbie Farr hate each other because it's 1 and 2 in the championship. They won't even speak to each other. Don't get in between them. At the end of the night, the pit party's on. The fans are filling the place. People are wall to wall. I look up and I see this rental van leaving with Robbie Farr driving and Pitto in the passenger seat. I'm like, help a brother out here. I'm trying to sell the dream.
Yeah, no, that was actually fun. I was trying to figure out where you were going with that because I'm like, man, no, me and Robbie were great. Like, we were battling to the last race for a championship, but, he was one of my best friends over there and enjoyed hanging out with him and a great guy. And so, no, I remember that race distinctly. We were leading or running up front, and then they have a yellow, and they have Australia's notorious for having defined lines on the racetrack. It's either a chalk line that disappears or a cone that somebody runs over. And
Or a tractor tire.
yeah, they didn't do that very often. But anyway, like the racetrack started as like a 3/8, and it finished as a quarter mile by the end of it because there was no definition as we were in the grass by the end. And so the whole race completely changed, and it got chaotic. There was no right or wrong to it. Once somebody did it and they let it go, it was game on. So, yeah, we lost a lot of points, and it kind of extended the championship battle all the way down to the last race at Adelaide.
Darren, you're one of the most valuable commodities in our sport, mate. I say this absolutely to you. You're a polished, classy, global thinking, phenomenal race car driver. When you were stepping away, I was thinking, oh God, please don't tell me there's no more reason to mention Owasso, Oklahoma. But here you are, still kicking butt and almost rejuvenating your career.
Oh, I'm not rejuvenating. Let's all.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, come on.
No, I'm happy with where I'm at. Again, this sport has been amazing to me and my family, and again, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm a part of sprint car racing until the day I die. But yeah, I don't know how many years I got left racing, or months for that matter. Who knows? But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Driving the 69K is truthfully an honor just to be asked to drive a car of that caliber with Davey Brown and Donnie Kreitz working on it. And so I'm going to enjoy every chance that I get to drive that car. And if there comes a day when they ask to put somebody else in it, then I'll probably just call it a career at that point. But again, it's a lot of fun to get in and drive a car that's always as fast as it is. It helps me not be as sharp as I know that I should be. Only running a dozen or 15 races a year now. But I mean, that car can go anywhere in the country and win, and I'm just been lucky enough to be able to get behind the wheel.
You've been a phenom behind the wheel, but this sport, you talk about how good it's been to you, but also you've developed Ultra Shield racing products. What's it been kind of like growing that and seeing behind the scenes in a different form?
I've surprisingly enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. I mean, I get a lot of satisfaction out of, working on our products, seeing our products in victory lane, seeing the drivers that, the young and up and coming drivers, the veterans of our sport that have, switched from a brand that they use for most of their career, and I take it serious that they chose Ultra Shield to keep them safe. And so it's a role that I've stepped into that obviously we take serious, and I take a lot of pride in the products that we build, and I don't take lightly when somebody puts their trust in us. And so it's something we work on all the time. When, as far as the safety standpoint, I feel like it's something that will never stop developing, and we can never get to the point where it's like, no, this is what we do, and this is as good as it's going to get. Like, we have to be open to technology and the things that we learn with people that are getting injured, and how do we make our product better, and how do we make our sport safer. So absolutely love the business side of it. I love that it's still tied with racing, and so I'm incredibly involved in watching races. I'm a huge late model fan now, and I don't think I ever watched a late model race until 4 or 5 years ago. And so I love that part of it. It's just, it's definitely been a good change. It's been a good change for my family. The kids have gotten obviously settled and in school, and got one going to be a senior next year, and so it's going fast. But Ultra Shield's been a great challenge. You don't get the highs of winning a race by running a business, but I still get a ton of satisfaction out of, seeing guys that choose our products go out and not only win races, but to see them when they do have crashes, get out okay, texting me, hey, thank you for, this helped, and I was able to get out because of that, and that's something that we take a lot of pride in.
I can't wait to see the late model career. This is going to be so good. Please put your hands together for the wonderful Darren Pittman, everyone. Late models. You can race them till you're 70, Pitto. That's good news. I like hearing this. Sneaking in off stage right, Justin Sanders. Wonderful to have him. I'll just keep moving across and we'll slide in Justin. Isn't Pitto just so well-versed and so well-spoken? Very much like this guy. Good to see you just sneaking in off the side there, just nice and quietly. Please put your hands together for Justin Sanders, everyone.
One of the fastest guys on the West Coast. What's this season been like for you? You've been dominating in NARC up and down California.
Yeah, the season's been great, kind of up to this point. We show up here and we're kind of struggling a little bit. Just, I don't know if it's the track race is different this year or if it's, kind of our package that we built or just circumstance. But, yeah, our season's been great. We've had a lot of speed, felt like we could really move around, really do more things with our car this year than we've been able to do in the past. And that's been good, again, to be able to get back to the mechanical side of the car and really just get after it.
I'm looking at your points here. You're sitting in 6th right now in points. And I said before that I felt you've been under the radar. Now, I don't mean you haven't been fast. I just mean I haven't seen you taking chances. I haven't seen you ripping to the front. You've just been locking in and chipping away. It seems like you understand how you got to be there at the end and build on your points.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like, I don't know if it's my performance or our race car right now. It's been kind of, I don't know if you call it mediocre or whatnot, but I don't know if anything has really gone to circumstance for me. I've really let myself and my team down on restarts. It's I would get a couple spots and then lose 5 spots on a restart, then have to get them back. And I don't know what it is this year. I cannot get that back straightaway restart down. Every move I make, every time I pick up the throttle, every time I do something, it's always wrong. And that's been a big struggle. So I almost wish these races would just go green to checkered so I don't have to have any restarts. But well, we just got to figure it out, and that's all it is. And yeah, we qualified good, went out late last night. Our car has speed. It's the transition from qualifying to heat races to kind of where we need to be. I think the first night we got a different motor in the car, and we tried some different stuff with some detuning, or not even different. It's just the same thing we would do on our other motors, and it really threw us for a loop. And we kind of feel like we've been chasing ever since that. And I don't know if it put us behind or got us thinking and guessing. So we just got to get back to our thing. We went completely through the car again today. Had to fix a couple things, and now just have to really make the right decisions when the time counts.
So how hard is it to get into your head and back out of it? It's on your mind about the restart thing. So you've got yourself in a mental space where you go every single time, like a batter going to bat, right? It's like, oh, here we go. I'm going to get a piece of this again. And then get yourself out. It's such a mental game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest thing is when you pick something, I think that's what I've came to the conclusion for. If you pick something, you have to stick to it. You can't second guess. And I think that's every time I'd see somebody switching in front of me or do something, I'd try it at the last second to try to do something different. Every time it bit me. So my thing is, no matter what I'm choosing. I don't care if 10 guys go up there in front of me. I'm still going to choose that and just try to make the best of it. This is a tough deal, man. I mean, I think this is definitely the toughest dirt cup we've had. You got so many good guys from the West Coast, from local Skagit to high limit to guys kind of doing one-off deals, and it's just it's hard to explain. I think we're really bad, but then I kind of look at the competition that we're running against. It's like, man, maybe we're not as bad as we think, but yeah, it's pretty remarkable how tough it is out here.
Well, you're a guy that's won this event before. What's it going to take to get it done tonight? Where do you got to be?
I think that I have to pick up at least 20%. We have to pick up at least 20% with the race car. It's going to be tough. These guys are not hard to pass, and now the guys that are fastest are going to be in the front, and they're not going to make mistakes. So we have to have a better race car, and I have to drive better and make smarter decisions than any of those guys. And the whole thing about winning this event is you put yourself in that position. So those 4 guys that have earned to be in the the lock-in spot, they've earned that. And it's hard from somebody to come from back, especially with the track rework or usually we see on Saturday night that the racetrack's kind of different. It's not the same as the prelim nights. And I don't really have that answer. All we can do is try to make our car better. And I just need to, like I said, I need about 20% out of myself.
If you're talking about a 15-second lap somewhere, right, in your A main, you're going to get maybe 400, 500 seconds of actual decision-making time, Justin. Like I watch you guys running behind someone, and you drop to the bottom for maybe a lap, and then he's upstairs. You got, I can't stay up there where he is because we're going to be the same speed. You have to make such quick decisions, and you get very little time to assess, did that just work? Was that worth going to the bottom? Like, how much of it is not guesswork, but are you just not doing what the guy in front is doing?
Exactly, and that's kind of where I was saying back to my restarts. I'm making a split-second decision after we're already taken off, and like you just said, we actually think in our head like, man, that was horrible or that was great. It's you're right. We have about 400 seconds or 400 split decisions to make, and if you hit 10 of those wrong, out of the 400 or whatever, like you said, you could have a bad race, or if you hit all of them right, you could have a great race. So yeah, it's the mental game of that is huge.
Do you talk to yourself in the race car in those moments? Are you like, yes, that's it, go to the bottom again, go to the bottom, I gotcha. Do I run high? Like, are you constantly talking to yourself?
I think that's more when you make a mistake. You're sitting there talking to yourself how idiotic of a mistake that was or something like that. But yeah, it's like I said, this whole deal, it's very tough, and the split second decisions can either make or break your whole weekend or your whole night or whole everything. Like if I feel like I could have made a couple different decisions on restarts. I could have been sitting locked in instead of being in sixth, and that's just how it goes. And like I say, to kind of reiterate on what you were saying, I have to throw it all away and not think about the restarts. I have to literally just say, you know what, this is Thursday night. We're showing back up, and no matter what I do, I got to just sit there and throw it all away.
We're all going to be sitting here on the restarts, Eric, going, all right, Sanders,
let's
what
see
do you
what he's
got?
going to do. So no pressure now. Is there any way you can practice that reaction? I mean, you can always watch drivers and they go and, hit those dots or anything, but is there really a way to practice, or is it just repetition, repetition, repetition?
That's honestly a really good question. I never thought about that as like you watch Rico and he's doing all that. That's maybe a good idea. Maybe that's something I need to be doing instead of working on the car. I need to spend an hour or two a day and be doing something like that. I really don't have an answer. If I had it figured out, I wouldn't have made all those mistakes last night. But I think it has to do with changing up your decision when you've already made one. Brake and gas work, angles. A lot has to do with the way the race car is. Knowing if your car's better around the top or better around the bottom, because if you take off and you're kind of lever up and you miss the bottom, you're going to get a worse start than just trying to rip the top and keeping your car down. So it's that's I think some of the hardest thinking out of even driving. Usually as a driver, if you're better on the bottom or on the top, or kind of how to move or kind of the decisions you got to make. But the restarts, they're always different. Every single restart, you're going to have a different guy in front of you, a different guy behind you, and I think that is the most challenging.
It's such a beautiful, crazy, this sport, mate. I mean, drivers make really bad spectators. Announcers make really bad spectators. But when you sit back and watch 24 cars all trying to pick a different line for that really intense period, there is no motorsport on the planet like what we do.
No, maybe you could almost say late models or something like that, but they don't have no backstretch restarts. And
That's two late model references we've gotten now.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the closest thing to a sprint car is probably a late model, with speed and the way, not the way they move, but
let's say like Supercross or something, right? Where there's like a 50 right start, but everything's got a different groove, a different line. You're never in the same space. We don't have 200 mile to do a NASCAR race or a Formula One race.
That's actually a really good analysis of it too. It's kind of that backstretch restart is almost like a Supercross race in a way. You got one guy here, one guy here, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's there's nothing like this sport. Nothing like the way we can change wings and the way we can change this for different racetracks, and we have some cockpit adjustable stuff and move the wing back and forth, and yeah, it's really an awesome sport, and it can keep you at the highs and it can get you down at the lows. So we just want to be somewhere in that upper echelon of being up in the highs.
Do you remember the first time you saw somebody not related to you wearing your shirt? Do you remember your first T-shirt where you went, oh my God, someone's wearing a Justin Sanders shirt? Like, thousands of shirts later, that's not a thing anymore. But what was it like the first time you saw that?
Man, I don't know. That was a long time ago. It's probably like 16 years ago now. Yeah, it's definitely cool to see that you've kind of got to a spot where you can even have T-shirts and see fans wearing them and actually want to buy them. So that's actually cool. And again, thanks to all the fans for buying our merchandise when we have it. It helps us with, gas and food and sometimes hotel stuff or drinks or anything like that. So thanks again to you guys for buying, everybody that's over there buying merch tonight. And always, it's definitely nice to have that extra money. Sometimes we might not show up, but we actually need it.
Yeah, this sport is so fan-driven. And we see so many guys, Rico, Tanner, trying to make those next steps. How do you just engage that fan to keep them following and wanting to support you?
I don't think I've been the best at that because I've usually always, like, Monday through Friday, it's working on race car, building shocks, or doing this, or working on something on my house. And, it'd be cool to maybe have a little bit more engagement with that. I love the kids when they're coming up. I love signing autographs for kids. It's great. I think that's the best rewarding thing if you have a bad night when you see a kid that's there that, wants you to sign their stuff or you're their favorite driver or something like that. So definitely, I really look forward to that. I don't know. I don't know how I can get better at it. I guess I need maybe like 16 hours in a day, and then we can maybe do it. But again, all kids, come down, come see me. Always love and have you guys come down. Before the race or after the race, it's pretty cool.
No, I wasn't trying to say anything against what you do. It's just such a different time now where the fan engagement is so different.
And it's brutal. Long road trips seem like that'd be a killer for you, Justin, because you're a classic overthinker like I am. So you must be like, oh, why did I do that? Why do that? So the best thing for you before a long road trip is to win, right?
Oh, absolutely. When you're winning, that makes the road trip hell of a lot easier. But it kind of goes both ways. Either if you win, it keeps you up. If you do bad, it keeps you up because you got the adrenaline pumping and you're you're thinking about what you should have done, and you're not even thinking about being tired. So I really like the first one, not the second one, but yeah.
Hey, it's good to see you here, mate. Good luck tonight. I know that we're all excited to watch your restarts tonight. Just rip through. You'll be fine. When you see that green thing, just mat it.
Yeah, it don't matter. Like I said, I'm picking a line and stick to it. If I go from 3rd to 20th, that doesn't matter. I'm picking a line and sticking to it.
No matter what happens tonight, folks, in the pits, come up to Justin at the end and say, great restart, all right? That's what's important. Justin Sanders, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate you dropping by. Good luck, mate. Always good to see you. Our next guest, I just saw Rico before, just milling his way through all the people. There are so many fans here already for our Fan Zone experience, our pre-race party, which is going off. And we got to ask whether anybody found the hat, because I've been getting everybody asking me, like, did anybody find the hat? Did anybody find the apple? There's been a lot of questions going on about the important stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rico Abreu. Oh, man. You always get all the big crowd cheers. I feel like you go around and just work him into a frenzy before you show up, mate.
I got great fans out here in the Pacific Northwest, so I really enjoy just being here and just being a part of this event.
I know, it's like a
Careful,
Pennsylvania.
careful, don't rock on you.
It's like a rocking chair, mate.
And rocking chair. Just what Kevin's done here, I think is really important that, we come and support these events. And I haven't been to the Dirt Cup since 2014. I finished second. Brock won. It was a amazing race when I think about, it was rain shortened, but just the hype up then. And it's really cool, actually. I seen Steve Beitler doing the track when we got here, and I haven't seen him in a long time. So, just to bring back some of those memories and what Beitler's created here, and then what Kevin's really taken it from 101 to 200, and just this facility from the branding aspect. Like, we get to go to these amazing venues all across the country, sprint car racing, and there's not too many of them that really thrive off of the branding, and you see the blue and the whites and the logos, and they really flow with it. And I think that's really recognizable when you come to these facilities, and the safety crew and how transparent, open they are. It's just the little detailed things is really what separates these facilities that we get to come to.
We burn minutes so quickly in life these days, Rico. It seems like only yesterday I was doing a Facebook Live with you, and yet there was fires around your home back in the day as well. California was on fire, and we get caught up in the day-to-day BS. And most important thing is people like this that we're looking at here. Racing is about people, Rico, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very fan-driven, people-driven, and I've really tried to surround myself by incredible people and be very open to the fan base, just because I feel like that personality that that character that I've built, it goes a long ways to just the presentation that I've created over the years, and it's all driven around the people I've been surrounded by, and I think that's what's most important. Over the career, how my parents have pushed me through the ranks of racing at a young age, and I started racing when I was 16 years old, but I just loved it so much, and once I got through high school and my sporting career was over, just because of my shortness and height and my competitiveness eager, racing really just kind of fell into my lap naturally, and I really take a lot of pride in just having the ability to drive a race car, and then let alone to build a brand around myself that is very appealing to the fan base, and it's all about the showcasing the personality, I think, and I've really attached myself to that, and just really enjoyed being around people at the races. Like I feel like it's come very organically to me, and I just kind of try to be myself no matter what people think of me.
When I've talked about the young generation of the sport, Levi, Jet Barnes, now you and Jet did get into it last night. We saw you go over and talk to him. You said it was a positive conversation on Facebook. What did you go and talk to Jet about?
I mean, I don't know if it was, I just really, when you're in those positions, there's got to be some give and take, and I think that, slide jobs, however you look at them, I haven't been crashed from a slide job in probably 8 years. When I really think about it, was Bud Kading at the Gold Cup in a heat race where I was kind of ran out of real estate. But and I've had my fair share of run-ins with other drivers. But the biggest thing for me is I went and made it a point to speak to all those drivers, and you speak to, you feel the blood pressure, and you understand, you put yourself in those uncomfortable circumstances. And everybody's just racing hard, and these kids are really young. They're eager. They want to win. They're outside of their comfort zone when they're racing with competition this stout. These series that just have created this unbelievable level of competition, and the times are so close. Like everyone's in great equipment. You got to really think through, when you're out there racing, and that's all I really talked about. When I went over to Jet, and I first asked him if he was all right, and then I asked him, I just said that it's just about using your head really and racing with respect. And yes, a lot of us at times, it can look dirty, but there has to be a point of give and take out there on the racetrack, especially when you're, racing with such tight quarters. So, it's just moved on. I don't really worry about the past that much and where I'm at in my career now, and I'm just really focusing on putting myself in great position to win races.
Your social media director, partner is Toby Balboen, who's a young Sydney guy that raced sprint cars himself at Parramatta back in the day. You probably raced against each other forever ago, I'm thinking. You have to be on 100% now. Like, you away from the racetrack is almost important with your social content. That's got to get exhausting, always looking for new ways to be engaged.
Yeah, I'm just really motivated with it. The platform has so much growth, and I've, connected myself with Toby, someone who's just as eager as I am to help grow my platform, and he's the back end of the content creation, and I just be really relentless with it all, just like I am with my racing, and he's really helped me accelerate my whole business model of what I've built here, from the marketing side of things to the performance side of things, and trying to take my brand to the elite level when it comes to sprint car racing, and it really helps with me to navigate my partnerships, and like I said earlier, continue to showcase my personality and who I am, and really just, to be honest, just really tell my story the way I want it told. Don't let the media control your storyline, and I think that's why I'm so open about things, because once I'm open about it and it comes from me, then nobody can really cut through the bull crap of what is said out there and who personalities are.
Obviously, you drove the family car for many years. You were your own boss, although Dad probably called the shots as well, to the financial reality of racing for someone else now and swapping to that team. Has that been different? Were there things you didn't think that would be different that are, or has it been pretty seamless transitioning to TCR?
Yeah, I mean, racing for Tony Stewart Racing is, accomplishment of mine that I've talked about for years, and then really do it with the people that I've surrounded myself by, Ricky Warner, Zach Middlebrooks, Brady Forbrook, and adding Todd Devanich and Misha into the program. And that the relationship, the friendship that I've had with Tony for many years. I've lived at his house for 5 years, 2015 to 2020, and just have this transparency of understanding where his team was, the championship branded team, continuously winning championships, and to put together this partnership with him. Everything I've built up with my own team over the last decade, I felt like it was really easy just to plug and play it and surround myself by some some Fortune 500 companies that CarQuest, Advance Auto, Curb Records. I mean, these companies that at the top of business, is really good to continue those relationships in the sport of sprint car racing, especially the growth of our sport right now and the viewership on these streaming platforms that we're getting. It's just so important that we showcase these partnerships and continue to market them, and that's why I've brought Toby in long term and try to build a relationship with these people where we have all the pieces of the puzzle in place to continue to grow these partnerships, continue to grow the sport, and to perform. It all comes down to performance and racing well. You got to win races. You got to be up front. So I got to make sure all the people are in place for me to be able to do that.
What type of advice do you give to people who come up to you and ask, hey, how do I get started with trying to grow where I'm at in this business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's relationships and starting small and building. I've been very fortunate to have a family support me through my whole career and just be really driven through it. And if looking back, if it was, if I was the father to a son, I would do everything I could to support my son through his passions. And, so I really applaud my family to continue to push me through that, but do it in a way where you learn and you execute and you are building these relationships, and then to grow partnerships and to bring new partners into sprint car racing. I've just become very passionate about doing those kinds of things and know that it's so beneficial for the sport. And like I said earlier, the sport right now is you have these two streaming platforms fighting over viewership rights, and they're just injecting revenue into us race teams and us drivers. And 5 years ago we were racing for $5,000 to win these races, and now we're racing for $150,000, $300,000, 2,500 miles away from here. So you have these amazing people like Kevin Rudine and Todd Quiring and that own these racetracks and just create this amazing experience for the fans that it's not just race cars going around the tracks, but there's all sorts of activation outside of the racetrack, and there's all these things going on where that fans have access to the pit areas and the drivers are very presentable. I mean, I think that it's all those little details that really separate, that have grown our series very quickly. And then now we're starting to get on linear television, which is another step to the piece here that, Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson and Flo have really created. And our sport is exciting to watch, and it's intense. And you have these 15-year-old kids out here doing amazing things, and you have 50-year-old gentlemen out here doing amazing things. And so there's big diversity in it. It's really fun to watch. I'm a huge fan of our sport. And you see it with the fans in the stands. They're being entertained. And at the end of the day, we're in the entertainment business. So as long as you guys all keep showing up, we'll keep driving our hearts out.
We'll turn then look to tonight. You mentioned big paydays, over $100,000. What's it going to take to get that done for you?
I mean, I think that I have an unbelievable team behind me that believes in our ability. I don't think it's going to matter where you start tonight with the way the track conditions have been. I mean, I think it's more so just executing to get your car in a comfortable position for me. That's my big thing is I have such a tight window in how I feel in my race car, and it's just about the consistency of getting it to feel really comfortable for me. So sometimes it takes us a minute, and sometimes you can snap your fingers and you're right there.
Rico, there was something that wasn't caught on camera yesterday, and I don't think it was. You had a beautiful moment with a really pretty little girl that sat on the back of the mule with you that's part of your greater racing family. You could explain to people who that was. It's a racing community. You race so fiercely against these kids as parents. Sometimes it's got to be tough, but at the end of the day, you're bonded by friendship and a methanol family, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've created some amazing friendships through the sport and through the 15 years I've been doing it. And, just it's like we're a family out here, Brad Sweet's, Wade, you're talking about Brad Sweet's daughter, Savannah, and
She's so beautiful. She speaks with such animation. She was so passionate. I mean, she's talking to her friend, right? But she's got some spirit.
Really become attached to her personality, and every time she comes, she's just this bright soul, and I feel like I become inspired by that and like to show that to other people too. So, you know, I think when I was a kid, I've had experiences like that with others, not just in racing, but outside of racing, just growing up in the wine industry and stuff, and people that my father was associated with in business, and you know, I just never forgot those memories. So I always think about a kid and like putting yourself in a young child's shoes and what they see at that present moment, and I've just really told myself over the years it's really about living in the moment, in the present moment, and not worrying about the past or the future.
She's just got a real bright spark. I was watching her. She just lit you up. Like she's got plenty of spirit.
Yeah, she just makes me feel really happy.
I think you make us feel happy, Rico. That's what I think most people, the fact you can drive a race car is secondary to how you make people feel. I'm pretty sure that's what everyone loves about you, mate. You're such a pivotal part of our sport. I'm so grateful for the way you value this industry and these people, and I think everyone feels the same. Please put your hands together for Rico Abreu. Where's the hat? Asking for a friend. Did we find the hat or the apple? I didn't find out. There was lots of people asking me about it. He's always got something on the go, hasn't he? We got a couple more guests still to come.
Yes, we do, Wade. We've got a lot more fun to still be had. We'll have Jet Barnes coming by at 3, Brad Sweet coming by at 3:15, Trey and Colin Starks at 3:30, and Levi Hillier coming by at 3:45. And Wade, this is always just so much fun to talk to these drivers and just be able to dig in and kind of hear their backgrounds, their stories, and just where they want to be and where they have been.
I mean, he needs to be a motivational speaker. Rico has got that zen about him. He's almost like a Tony Robbins, you know, like a motivational sort of speaker as well as a race car driver. I think, to be honest, Rico's purpose, not to get all spiritual on you all, is way bigger than that. Barnesy, what's up? That's how the young people speak, apparently. Good to see you, mate. So, would you please put your hands together for Jet Barnes, everyone, our next guest. You like the old rocking chair we got sorted for you, Barnesy? It needs a bit of oil. Man, it's exciting to watch you race, mate. Tell us your story. Where did all this come from?
Yeah, I just started racing when I was young, and I've made it here, and it's just been really fun since.
All right, so where did you start racing, and why did you start racing?
Yeah, so my friends knew Maddox Salmon, which tragically passed away here a little bit ago, and yeah, so he got me started. I started driving junior sprints around his house property and stuff, and ever since I've just been moving up through the ranks. I did a bit of outlaw kart stuff and just finally got here now.
What is your birthday and what year?
May 28, 2011.
What was that like growing up in the micro ranks and progressing through? Because California micro racing is second to none in just the talent, the competition that you're facing night in, night out.
Yeah, it's definitely really tough. Like, there's a lot of good drivers. You got, like, Jet, TJ, Jeffrey, and all them. They race really hard, and they're really good, so it takes a lot.
How has that experience helped you now that you've gotten to 410? Because the micro talent is strong, the 410 talent's stronger. We just talked to Rico with Jet Barnes, you know, Brad Sweet. You can just go down the list of talented race car drivers that are here, and you're competing right with them.
Yeah, it's definitely, you got to be aggressive, and I need to be a little bit more patient with my stuff. But, yeah, I feel like the micros taught me a lot of patience and just being aggressive.
Do you ever take a step back and go, wow, this is who I'm racing against, or you just focus and it's just another car on the racetrack that you want to pass?
Yeah, I just try to not think about who's around me and just do my own thing.
You're not going to learn this straight away. You understand that, right? It's supposed to take time. You've gotten very quick at this very, very quickly. What are the things that catch you every time when you get in the car where you go, oh, this is cool? Because I watched you rail 3 several times last night going, that has to be fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. This track is super fun, but yeah, like when we got here and I seen Rico and just a bunch of high rollers, it was definitely cool.
Jason Myers is one of the sport's most balanced, influential, sensible, remarkable people. To be associated with a person like that, he will teach you so much more than just driving a race car. How did that relationship come about?
Yeah, so they called me up here just about after Chili Bowl, and they were just like, we'll give you 4 races and give you a shot and just see how you do.
All right, so who called and what number came up on the phone? How did this, take me through how this, they called me up. Oh, yeah, Jace, yeah, good. Who called you and how did that conversation start?
Honestly, I don't even know. It was kind of on my dad, but we just had a meeting at the shop, and it just ended up working out.
And
Yep.
wouldn't that be nice, right?
What's going on for you today? Well, we got Jason Mars on the phone for you, Jet. We need to talk. What was it like getting in the car the first time? Was there an expectation, or did they say to you, hey, we know you're going to learn, this will take time, or what has been the strategy for you?
Yeah, it was first couple races were just try to get through them and just do the best I could and try my best, but gotten a few wrecks so far.
Another relationship I want to look at is you and Kevin Swindell. Kevin's been here. What type of mentor has he been like to you?
Yeah, ever since I started working with him, it honestly feels like a dream. Every time he comes, I feel like I do a lot better. He keeps me in a good head state and just keeps me going.
How did you start working with Kevin?
So when I was 7 years old or 8, at Tulsa Shootout 2020, I went up to Joe Swindell in the T-shirt trailer and I asked, if I win this night, can I be Swindell forever? And she said yes, and I ended up winning. So that's just how the relationship started.
All right, fair enough. Swindell for life. Good for you.
Yeah.
So your classmates at school, I guess they just do normal things like chase frogs and jump in puddles and stuff, and you wing a 410 sprint around. It's the way life works. Do you have non-racing friends, or all your friends in the racing world?
Honestly, I don't have that many friends not out of it because I'm around it so much. So there's not really time for any of other things.
What do you do apart from racing?
Normally just golf, to be honest.
Oh, good.
Well,
so
he's
you
a
can
good
play
golfer.
golf as
They
well.
won.
That's
You
great.
guys won the golf tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do your classmates understand what you do, or do they ever come up to you and like, what do you mean you're driving this 900 plus horsepower, machine?
Yeah, I don't think they realize it because, I mean, they probably never been around it, but I think they think it's pretty cool.
Is anyone else questioning their life choices at this point? Because I know that I am. Jet, you got to trust in the process with this car, right? You wing that thing down into turn one, and you got to trust the whole concept works. You turn it left, the air catches the wing, the car squats, it does all those sort of things. But how do you keep learning from that? Because the track changes every single lap.
Yeah, so 410's a lot different, and ever since I started getting the 410, there's a lot more wing speed to it, and you just got to stay in the track, and you can't really get out of it because then you just spin the tires, but I've just been trying to work on that.
Can you kind of explain what you mean when you say wing speed?
Yeah, so it's obviously downforce, so you can't really drive in behind someone, or you kind of just push tight to the wall. So you got to kind of like, so if someone runs the top, you kind of got to slide yourself into the corner, because if not, you're just going to get tight. But, yeah, you just can't enter behind someone.
It's that dirty air, right? That can just be so kind of dangerous and treacherous.
Yeah.
There's, at a point last night, there was a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old in the top 5 of some of the best drivers on the planet. That's all I got. It just, does it blow your mind? Because it blows my mind. The only thing I was driving at your age was my parents' crazy. You're out there in an almost 1,000 horsepower sprint car. What is the coolest bit? Is it when you mat it down the straightaway? Is it when it wings down coming into the corner? What is the bit where you go, hell yeah, I'm driving a sprint car?
Mostly when it's around the fence. That's my favorite.
Like me. Yeah, I get it.
What was probably the most challenging thing to learn when you first stepped into a sprint car?
Honestly, just how much power they had. Like, most of the time you're never full throttle, to be honest, and takes a lot of time to figure it out, but it's good.
Do you feel like that throttle control is something that can relate back to what you learned in micros? Because, sure, you can go full throttle in those micros, but at the same time, you still have to have a lot of throttle control.
Yeah, with anything when the track gets slick, you got to have throttle control. So, yeah, I think that helped a lot, just especially like the wing cars and non-wing, yeah.
I don't want you to go cup racing, all right? I mean, you can go away for a little while, make your money like Casey did, and come back in the sport. But is there a longer-term goal? You want to race sprint cars and then do something else, or is this going to be where you stay?
Yeah, I want to be like Corey and stuff, and I want to do a high limit season before I go straight to the asphalt stuff, but it would definitely be awesome.
It's kind of incredible to think that if you go back 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, people didn't say I wanted to go high limit racing. The ultimate was to do the outlaws, right? So it's incredible how your world is changing. Who were your heroes growing up? Because you're still doing that.
I mean, to be honest, my parents didn't come from this stuff, so I honestly didn't go to my first sprint car race until, I probably went to 2 sprint car races before I went to my first sprint car race. So, I mean, Kyle Larson, obviously. Like, that's who I've known growing up.
So in your family, who else raced in your family before this?
No one.
So who got you into this then?
Just TJ Smith and my dad just known him, and I've just done it ever since.
So you know what's cool about that? We expect it to be generational, right? You expect that when you go through all the names that we've been talking to today. But Kyle Larson never had a history of racing in his family either, so it just started with him. So what is your favorite track at the moment?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Think about it just while you're sitting here.
Think about the banners we've got around.
If you want to make it out of this place alive in a minute, I'd just say this place first.
yeah, this place.
Well, what about other places that are almost as good?
I definitely I like tracks to get around the fence. So, obviously, Tulare. I really enjoyed Watsonville the last couple of weeks. They've worked really hard on that track and just to get it prepped every weekend. And I like Placerville.
What about bucket list tracks?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Knoxville, Eldora, do you want to race the Nationals one year? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I want to run outdoor really bad. It looks really fun. Knoxville, I think it'd be fun, but I still got a year for that.
Yeah, so let's explain that. You can't race everywhere at your age, right?
Yeah, I can only do mostly California tracks. Most tracks you got to be 16.
Yes. That's normal, Chet, for the rest of us. So I'm guessing you do a lot of sim time and stuff like that. Are you always doing that?
Yeah, I can play R Factor and yeah.
R Factor, so are you more R Factor than iRacing?
Yeah.
So what is the R Factor like versus iRacing?
I feel like it's just more realistic, to be honest. Like, you can bike up and stuff.
All right. So what do you feel like you've learned in R Factor that is translated from when you've run here? Or really just in a sprint car in general?
To be honest, the sprint cars aren't realistic in it, but I feel like the midgets are really fun, and they're definitely pretty realistic.
So have you learned anything that's translated for those midgets?
Definitely that they're very touchy and really flippy, but yeah, besides that, not much.
Do you have a curfew?
I don't really go out, so no.
How are your parents dealing with this? Is this the dream for both of them? Tell me about who's in your family. Who's in the Barnes family?
Yeah, so my Mimi and my Poppy, this has been their dream for me to get here, and they've honestly never missed one of my races, and they've always been here for me. And
Are they somewhere here? Point out, have we got family here?
Yeah, so my dad's over there, and then that's my stepmom right there, but my little baby cousin's in the ICU, so my Mimi had to go home today, but she was here last night.
Okay, so family is a hugely important part of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's my number one.
What is your favorite food?
I don't know, probably seafood.
Have you ever tried a plant-based nugget?
What is that?
Exactly.
Have you ever
Where's
tried
John
a Tim
Hager?
Tam?
We need to get John. We cooked him up last time for Dominic Selzy. It's like a nugget, but it's not a nugget. It's like tofu. Nobody really understands that either, but people still eat it.
Have you ever tried a Tim Tam?
It's a Tim Tam.
Oh, what about Vegemite? Have you even heard of Vegemite?
Oh, yeah, I have heard of that. Did you put it on toast?
Yeah, look
there
at
you
you
go.
go. Australia, is that on your map maybe one day?
Yeah, you got to be 16, obviously, to run there, so hopefully next year.
You've done your homework, haven't you, mate, where you can race?
Yeah.
Like a sprint car nightclub. You got to be this high to ride this ride or this age to get into that. So coming into tonight, what's the go? How you feeling? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I start second in my heat, I think.
Alongside who?
Darren Pittman. Yeah, so it'll definitely be fun. Hopefully it's around the fence because I don't really like running the bottom, but
You're going to have to
As
get
we've
used to that.
established.
Every now and again, you're going to have to go the bottom, mate.
yeah. But yeah,
No.
just hoping and get a good start and just get out front.
$100,000. Does that mean anything to you? Do you know anything about $100,000?
No, not really. The most I've ever had is probably about 1,000. So
What would you do with $100,000?
I don't even know. To be honest, I don't even know what my cut is, but I just
That's a lot of Happy Meals, I'm going to tell you that right
Another
now.
contract.
What is his cut? Can we ask that question? Do we know what the cut is at this point?
here I got it. I don't need a cut as long as I get to race. There you go.
Oh,
there's the good answer. There
Smart
you go.
thinking.
Good thinking.
So where to from here after this weekend? Where are you going and what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm off for a month because Corey has Knoxville Nationals and what is that? Kings Royal. And then I'll be, I don't know, I think NARC 410 Santa Maria and Watsonville again, I think.
So what do you do for the next month?
I'll probably just go on the road with Corey and just go up.
Scrape mud and stuff and do important stuff?
Yep.
What have you learned from Corey? What has he taught you as a mentor?
Well, at Eagle, he said I was kind of being a little baby because I was letting out halfway, get down the straightaway, I guess. So I guess he means just hammer it, and that's what I've been doing this week, and it's working out pretty good.
So just gas it up then, right?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Gas it up around the high side.
All right, music. Not that I'm going to know anyone that you're talking about. What kind of tunes do you like to listen to, or do you not listen to music?
I don't really listen to music, to be honest.
Have you got any sort of interest outside of racing, or are you just 1,000%
golf.
focused on what you're doing here?
I mean golf, but I would way rather do racing.
Well, you can make a lot more money on the PGA Tour or Live Golf or something like that, but are there any, what do you like about golf? Because it's so different to this.
It's just challenging. 1 week I suck, 1 week I'm good. There's no in between.
Do you have a bucket list golf course that you want to play someday?
Pebble Beach for sure.
Good answer. That's a good answer.
Well, what about Avalon Links? That's a pretty nice course.
I've already played that twice.
Have you ever heard of a kid called Macaulay Culkin? I feel like I'm in a Home Alone movie right now. You are a very exciting young sprint car driver, mate. I think we're all sitting here going, I remember the day when I sat next to this little turkey. He's only 15 years old saying, what's 100 grand? What's my cut? I don't care. Let's just go play golf and win a race. I'm excited, mate. You're doing a heck of a job. What about a round of applause for Jet Barnes?
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I feel like I've achieved nothing in the 50 years of my life.
Really makes you look back and question how we got here, doesn't it?
Oh, but he's obviously just a good kid.
And he's very well spoken.
Wow.
That was fun.
You're being a baby, so that's why I'm hammering it here. What's your favorite track? Anywhere you can run the wall. Really? Who's up next? Oh, that old guy, Brad Sweet. He'll relate to that. I'm sure Brad will relate to a lot of that. And I want to talk to him about his daughter because, honestly, you should have seen that yesterday, Eric.
I wish I did.
It was
I really wish I did.
really, really cool. She clearly has Rico, just lit up. It's a very cool experience. Wow. That was actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be because he's very shy, but I think he did a good job of that.
Yeah, he did. Jed's a very well-spoken kid. You can tell he's going to go far in this industry.
He's struggling with flip the water. He would have flipped the water bottle for us. That's what the kids do, don't they? So I'm not allowed to make too much noise about it, but the bloke coming down the path one just over there, that guy with the injured wing, that's Kevin Redeen. So I don't think you understand. We should put our hands together for Kevin as he walks by because, boy, the investment in
He called you number one.
Just the betting ticket he bought for me for the Socceroos to lose yesterday was a sizable investment for Kevin.
Oh.
Well, you can
be
be
if you want to come by with Levi.
Oh, yeah, I know. He knows a bit about this deal. Oh, good, she's here. Do you want to come and sit here as well, please? The outfit. Wow. Good to see you, Kevin. Kevin Redeen, everybody. Wonderful to have him here. You're in the middle there, Brad. Scooch in there, and it squeaks, too, by the way. You'll love that.
And it rocks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest, give it up for sitting second in points, Brad Sweet. Well, Brad, thank you for being here. Just what's your first Dirt Cup experience kind of been like so far?
Yeah, I mean, luckily I've been here quite a bit of times, in the Labor Day race. The fans up here obviously really passionate and a lot, they really show up. So the racetrack here has been great all weekend, and the staff does an amazing job here, and, it's not easy putting on these big events. So just an honor to be racing here. It's been nice not traveling so much and being able to go do some of these other races that I've been wanting to do my whole career. So, just enjoying it. It feels a little bit more laid back maybe than the Labor Day race, but really excited for tonight. I think everything's kind of, the intensity's picking up. Someone's going to walk out of here with over $100,000, and that's pretty cool.
Brad, I was talking to Rico before about your daughter and the conversation, the connection that those two have, and she just lights him up. Like, she just sits down and she speaks with so much animation. I mean, she's not of this world, that young lady. She's a very old soul.
Yeah, she she makes our day brighter every day. So she wakes up happy and full of energy, and yeah, definitely makes things a lot more exciting. But puts a lot of perspective, on life, and makes me enjoy a lot more of what I'm doing at the racetrack. And just neat to see her growing up, and neat to see her interactions, and to watch her from a little baby to where she's at now, and all these guys in the pits. Getting to know her and building those relationships. And yeah, for some reason her and Rico have really hit it off, and it's a pretty cool, special little relationship. She talks about Rico all the time, and Gus and Megan, and yeah, we just really enjoy our friendship with them. So yeah, like I said, I think kids are one of the best things that you could ever have in life, as far as giving you perspective. As a race driver, you think everything's so important. It's the end of the world if you have a bad race, and family, obviously puts that so much more in perspective, that a bad night's no big deal anymore. I could run 15th, and she tells me good job, and you were so fast, and so it's just nice. It's nice to have them, and it's been nice to watch her grow up for sure.
So guys like Danny Smith, legends of our sport, are still out there racing, still pounding down the highway, still running every race they possibly can. If I'd said to you 5 years ago, do you see yourself being semi-pro almost in that respect, being a major administrator of the sport now, an influencer, not like the Rico-style influencer, but in a different way, would you have seen it coming? Did you plan this far ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that, I've always kind of been that type of person that set goals, long-term goals, probably longer term than a lot of people. I think when, I set the goal to win a championship, and kind of looked at like my 30s and into my 40s, and watched I watched a lot of guys race and get towards the end of your career, and sometimes it creeps up on you quicker than you're ready for. And so I wanted to be able to end my career more on my terms, and not let my skill set or lack of skill set at that point end it for me. I feel like that's kind of what happened. So
that's a big call though, Brad. It's one thing to say that, and then to leave what you're so very good at, because you were at the top of your game.
Yeah, I think that's what you want in life, is you want to be able to make that choice for yourself, and you want to do it based off of family and your decisions, what's best for you. And when you go too far in racing, sometimes you're not prepared, and then you have to make decisions that might not be best for yourself or your family. So I think I put my time in on the road racing, and I think I have a lot of passion and a desire to help grow the sport in a different way now. And I think I see, where this sport can go, and how we can, build it and grow it. And it's exciting that I can contribute, because it took me 10, 12 years on the road racing and really understanding the business of racing to put myself in a position where I can now spend the next 5 or 10 years, contributing in a different manner. So it's not, luckily for me, I still get to be involved in the sport that I love and I'm passionate about. It's just a little bit on a different side. And allows me to spend more time with my family, and hopefully in the long run, it leaves a much, bigger lasting impression on the sport than just my driving career.
What is your vision for the sport for the next 5, 10 years?
Yeah, that's a big question. I don't think that anybody can necessarily answer exactly where we're going, but I certainly believe that we have a great product. So I think just consistently showing a good product to the fans, and entertaining, and continue to elevate the entertainment level for the fans. I think that's the biggest thing. And then, the racers, they put so much time into getting these cars up and down the road. So, providing them great racetracks. I think at High Limit, we've been able to really clean some of the unorganization and fragmentation up a little bit, and just, clean our shows up, get them a little bit more efficient for the fans, and then also, get the racetracks a little bit better. So just putting an emphasis on all the details, and then you never know what that's going to create. But we've been able to, go on live TV. We've been able to be on Amazon Prime. We've been able to kind of expand our distribution channels because of the efficiency, and it's starting to see the growth now of more and more fans engaging in our sport and being entertained. So I think, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I feel like in the next 5 years, this sport's gonna, could be in a whole different level. And events like this help. It's these big 3-day events. People are camping. There's a lot of atmosphere. That's what really drives the sports up. And I feel like new fans come out and experience that, and it's once they see it, they typically fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, I think everyone attributes the growth in Formula One, Brad, to the Netflix series. I think almost everyone you asked said they really didn't care that much for Formula One unless you're rusted on. But now look at the growth in it. It's a billion-dollar industry, and its team managers, its engineers have as high a profile as the drivers. So there's been a definite plan there, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you're always doing a case study on what's working out in in any industry. And there's things to take from Supercross, there's things to take from F1, there's things to take from NASCAR, good and bad. Good thing is we're still at a ground level for sprint car racing, in my opinion. There's still a lot of growth potential. So, yeah, we can certainly look at building our stars up like F1 did in a different light, through, shows and behind the scenes, stuff. But I still think it comes down to the product. I think F1, they built a cultural thing where it's more of a status thing, and they have the influence of the elitists, that come into those things, and it's more about what's going on, outside. And their product is I don't know, not even close to as entertaining as ours, but there's certain elements that make it really exciting and entertaining, to a bigger fan base. So I think in sprint car racing, we have our restrictions with the dirt and the dust and certain things about the facilities and venues we go to, but I certainly think there's a lot of opportunity to fix some of that and make it better and improve on that. And I think that if you look at the Knoxville Nationals and some of our bigger events, the proof of concept's there that we can have major sporting events with over 20,000 fans, and I guess raise the bar on how the sport is viewed, and for the racers and the crew guys, that would be a dream of ours to participate in more and more of those events where every time you're on the racetrack, you're just in a more professional setting.
What's it been like growing racing and working with Fox and working with FS1? You guys have 6 high-limit races on FS1 that have been big for just helping to get sprint car racing kind of out to that national audience.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I think, even from, High Limit, World of Outlaws, what they're doing at Skagit, we're all in the same arena trying to grow the sport together. So, the pressure then mounts on us to do a good job. And, if we get those opportunities where you're going to get those casual fans or the fans that maybe are giving the sport a chance for the first time, you have to perform at a very high level. We have to create an exciting, entertaining product that's going to draw them in and not turn them off. So it's been a lot of pressure when you're live and you're trying to fit in a 2-hour window and you're trying to nail all the timing, the start time, the end time. And with dirt, there's a lot of variables with weather and water truck drivers and wind and sun, and trying to fit into that and give the racers the racetrack to put on the product is the hardest part. Is people understand starting in the day and day to night and how dirt reacts and where the water goes, and just those types of things have been a very big challenge always for our sport to be on live, a live TV platform. So streaming is the best thing that ever happened for dirt track racing. Amazon Prime's done great for us. So, I think we're just in an exploratory, part of sprint car racing of where the best place to distribute the product is going to be. But I think we've done a great job for the most part, and I think it's been, I guess an honor to have the opportunity to kind of be spearheading some of that stuff, and it's an honor to kind of that they feel like High Limit Racing is the best chance for us to show the product, and they're giving it to us. So that's it's been cool. We got a couple more to go, and our staff at High Limit has stepped up every time. So just been really proud of the effort.
Eric, when you go in the South in America, gas station barbecue is a thing, and up here I noticed that gas station tacos and things like that are things.
Yes.
Brad is a huge fan of petrol stations, or servos, as we call them in Australia, gas station meat pies. And that was something I was thrilled about when you spent time as a resident almost at Parramatta. You love a good meat pie, mate.
Yeah, I love, honestly, Australian culture. If any fans out there thinking about ever going to Australia, both East and West Coast sprint car racing is really cool, and a lot of great venues. And honestly, the Australian sprint car scene is growing. Both on the East Coast and West Coast. They're built some new tracks. Wade kind of spearheads some of the East Coast Speed Week and races over there that have been, doing phenomenal. Perth has been doing a phenomenal job on the West Coast. So, when it gets cold and rainy here in Washington, it's only, 17 hours or so over there. So, yeah, it's I've been going there for about 20 years now to Australia, and I've been taking my wife and daughter the last few years. So we've just really enjoyed the break from, over here, obviously the winter, but just kind of the laid-back culture, the beaches, the sun, and just, the Aussie people have just embraced us, and we've embraced their culture. So it's, if you're there, you gotta eat your food and drink your beer. And the Aussie beer is probably a little bit better than American beer.
And just pause, let that sink in. Let that sink in. Yeah, there's a pop-up race in Adelaide that's phenomenal, Brad, and you would have seen the Napa Speedway in the City event. I don't know if you've seen it, Eric, or not, but it's a street circuit supercar race in Adelaide. It's massive. In the middle of it, they've created a pop-up sprint car track. It's phenomenal, and it's kind of more of an exhibition-style concept because they're popping wheelies. The track is much shorter, but it's built on a cricket oval. God bless that. But the idea of pop-up racing, Brad, as with NASCAR and Circuit of the Americas and Road America, all those places, that would be a vision down the road, I would think, to buy into that NASCAR audience too.
Absolutely. I think, if we, that's what I say, in 5 years, you don't know what the sport could look like, but it certainly could have, certainly could have infrastructure that you could build tracks. And, if you look at what Supercross does, they build their tracks in arenas and stadiums, and I think what that does is create a more professional, venue for the fans to look at, because not every place is like Skagit here that's, beautiful and built into a hillside and has, the amount of seating and everything that they have here. There's a lot of tracks across the country that, just haven't been able to keep up with, the developing their infrastructure to where these events are starting to get to with the fan bases and things. So, yeah, and I think it just opens your avenues to go into new markets and to new areas and things like that. So absolutely, I think that's a big, huge growth potential for sprint car racing. All of dirt track racing is potentially to have the infrastructure to build multiple pop-up type tracks. And the proof of concepts in Supercross, I think it's very easily to see that their tracks are bigger and harder to build than ours, and you just got to get the fan base big enough to justify going into a 20 to 50,000 person arena. Because the cost of all that just starts to get exponential.
Do you have in a perfect world, what would your dream pop-up track be? If you could just put a pop-up racetrack anywhere and go racing, do you have one in your head?
Oh, I don't know if I do, but, I think the other proof of concepts, Chili Bowl and now Gateway, I think you're seeing that, the possibilities are endless on that front for sure. I think these racers would be, obviously Daytona or Indy, obviously what they already built at Indy. I wish it was a little bit bigger for sprint cars. But there's just so much history and, these historic places. I think, there's football arenas, and I don't know. I don't think I could pick one, but I think it would be really cool to do multiple, pop-up things that were, in places that, kind of have that, history behind it.
I think places like Long Beach even, it's completely out of our market. We are in an IndyCar style concept and things like that. Brad, we're also seeing some of the best sprint car minds in the world these days on spannering these cars. I mean, Paul Silver is a great example. Such an eclectic, eccentric personality who shuns any kind of an interview, is very singularly focused on the race car. You guys got Ricky Warner, who's arguably one of the best there's ever been. When you go back in the day, there was Carl Kinzer and Sammy Swindell and Deuce Terrell and people like that. But, gee, there's some phenomenal crew chiefs now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have to say Ricky Warner, at least in my, from my perspective, because my generation wasn't Carl Kinzer, but I've watched Ricky Warner, and I have to say he's the GOAT from my, point of view, and what he's been able to do with Donnie and now Rico, and just whoever drives his car is always fast. His adaptability's, unreal. Paul's been amazing to work with, definitely quiet, super focused, and definitely has his way of doing things, and he's done amazing things and had so much success with Kyle, and it's been an honor to race for him. But I think we were pointing that out the other day. We were looking up and down the high limit pit area, and when we were all kids, which was 15 years ago, we all kind of started, and there's so many guys out there that started kind of at the same time. You know, my crew chief that I won 6 championships with was Eric Prutzman. He's out there, and you just see, you know, all these guys that have put so much time in and learned from the Ricky Warners and the Carl Kinzers. They're now, you know, in their late 30s, mid to late 30s and early 40s, and it's that era now. You know, you didn't realize it all changed, but Eric Prutzman, you got Paul Silva, you know, on the outlaw side, there's some really good crew chiefs, but our pit area is full of them for sure. Sean Strasbaugh's been around a long time. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of them, but when you look down through the pit area, you really see, you know, that the skill sets have developed, and we're at that next generation of these guys, and I would say that's what makes it so competitive. Is you know, there's a lot of good drivers, young drivers coming, but there's a lot of experience and talent in the crew chief position for sure.
I want to say a shout out to Aussies, Dylan Buswell, doing a phenomenal job on the Buddy Kofoy car. I just want to put the Aussie hat on for a second. Sorry, Eric.
Well, Brad, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time. Give it up for Brad Sweet, who's at second in points here tonight at Super Dirt Cup.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Thanks, Wade.
Thanks, Brad. Always good to see you, mate.
We'll bring in our next guest, Trey Starks, the defending Super Dirt Cup champion.
I like the way that...
And his brother Colin, too. There we go. We'll get you guys chairs. Don't worry. Yeah,
there, mate.
take the chairs right there in the middle.
One of you is really good at changing diapers. And she's sitting over there. Let me sit up the front here. Hey, boys. Good to see you. I got to say, this hasn't been the easiest of title defenses for you.
No, definitely not. We've had our fair share of struggles this year, this weekend. I come to find out that, if you're going to have problems, it's probably going to come on this weekend every year. So, we've been fighting our way through, but we still got a shot today. These qualifiers kind of make it an even playing field for everybody. I think you see that from last year, what James McFadden did. I think he started third or fourth in his qualifier and worked his way all the way up to the front row. So it's not over till it's over, that's for sure.
What a big racing family are. We have Trey and Colin Starks. What's it been like growing up and racing together? Trey, now he's your crew chief and working together like that for both of you.
Yeah, it's been cool to see it develop over the years, but, as anybody knows, kind of racing with family, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So the older we get, I feel like we manage that better, and the results have kind of shown from there. But it's definitely, there's no feeling like a year ago standing up here and winning a race that we both came to as, young kids, and then, to finally get a win, it's like I say, there is no better feeling.
We always ask drivers, do they have racing heroes? But Colin, I want to ask you, do you have crew chief influences and heroes?
You have guys that you look up to and see in that regard, but, honestly, my dad and my grandpa have been always the people that I learned from. They've done it my whole life, and, done it over a series of different types of cars, from pavement midgets to Silver Crown cars, sprint cars, now winged dirt sprint cars. So, those are the people that, we're in a unique position where we don't race for a living. We don't do it all the time. So I'm not out there with the Ricky Warners, with the Paul Silvas, or anybody else like that. So it's, to me, it's the people that do it on this level and still can compete with those guys on occasions. So.
Trey, I've often wanted to see you race in Australia, because I think that Aussies would really love the way you're very laid back. You're not showy. You're there to get the job done. You're sort of always busy with your own business. But the Knoxville success for you had to sort of cement people over the other side of the planet going, hey, hang on, this guy's pretty handy. And I think more people need to know about racing up this coast.
Yeah, I've had the privilege to race kind of here, there, and everywhere. I had 2 shortened tours to Australia. Both times I went over there, we had something go wrong and kind of cut the trip short. But, from Australia to Pennsylvania to run in Knoxville for a while, and then coming back here, it really makes you appreciate every different aspect every different region has to offer. I'm biased, but I love racing at home. This, with Skagit and everything in the Northwest and even the West Coast, as the way it's developed in the last, 5 or 10 years, I have a very unique perspective of getting to see it from 2010 is when we started until now. So just the different phases of everything. I think everybody needs to have the privilege to come out here and see what this racetrack and what the Northwest and the West Coast has to offer for sure.
Were you two competitive growing up? Or has there always been this, no, I'll set it, you race it, or I'll set it, you bend it? Like, how did this work between you two?
It's been, a different dynamic because when we were younger, like when I first started, I was super young myself. I was 14, so that makes Colin like 11 when we started. So I would say the involvement wasn't, the dynamic wasn't what it is now until I actually came back off the road. And then Colin became really, really involved. And he didn't really have a choice because if we wanted to go racing, it was basically I was kind of traveling back and forth, and we started racing our car again while I was still out on the road, and so we'd come back and run things like Dirt Cup and 360 Nationals and just here and there. So it was kind of up to him and my dad and my grandpa to get everything ready to go. So he was kind of dragged into it, but he really tries hard at everything he does. So he's in a good spot to be doing what he's doing, and he's really helped our program here as of late.
So, Colin, is the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond, is that sort of a similar situation? Is it all about trade? Did you always have to wait for Big Brother to come back? Like, what's it been like for you?
No, I mean, kind of before he came back, I honestly wasn't, I liked to go racing, but it wasn't something that I was super passionate about. And then kind of getting to see him go and have success. And then as I got older, when he came back and wanted to start racing around here again, it just kind of fit together perfect. And then, as things have evolved and Skagit Speedway has gotten bigger and bigger, the races have gotten bigger, I feel like we've kind of, become more and more serious and put more and more time and effort into it. So it's just been, a yin and yang, I would say, more than like, anything else. I enjoy racing or working on it as much as I know he enjoys racing it. So it's not really like none of that affects us, really.
How cool you get to do it together. I mean, at the end of the day, this is cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like say, it's always tough to race with family, but I feel like say, the older we've got, the more fun it's been. The success, I think, has come from he knows that I'm not doing this for a paycheck or anything. We're doing this because we love it. He's driving as hard as he can because we love it. I'm, putting as much effort into it as I can, and like say that, I think builds a lot of confidence in each other.
How would you describe Trey's driving style? What do you usually have to do to the car to get him to where he needs to be?
I mean, I would say, I don't want to say reserved or conservative, but he's not going to put himself in a bad spot if he doesn't have to. So, I mean, for us, it's just kind of giving him a car that's maneuverable and then let him go find an alternative lane to get by guys. It's, not notoriously going to be the one to pound off the wall hardest, but he might be able to find the bottom when somebody doesn't, or the middle, or just whatever he needs to do to make it. So if we can give him a versatile car, he'll do what he needs to do with it.
It's tough when you go and have a season like you had last year, like you were just banging those checks away. How tough is it when you roll into an event like this? Because you kind of could have snuck in a little bit last year, but now it's like, oh, where's the 55? The car stopped in your first heat. I don't have to tell you that. Suddenly it's like the spotlight is on. Is it different this time?
A little bit. It's I always said from last year it's going to be hard to follow that year. You know what I mean? We had a ton of speed and some pretty good luck, obviously, but the speeds there this weekend are just no luck again, which has been kind of notorious for our dirt cups. It just, whatever it is, I'm glad we got that one last year because dirt cup's been tough on us, and it's tough on a lot of people. It's not just us, but I think it's just a classic showcase of this is a weekend, especially with 50-some cars we got here. You can't have anything go wrong to have a good weekend. You look at the guys up front, and you can't have any hiccups. And unfortunately, we've just had a few things that have just set us back, and now we're trying to dig ourselves out. But like I said, the way the format is here, you're never out. We have a good showing on our qualifier. We're still right in the hunt. And you know what? Even if we're not in the pool shuffle, you got 40 long laps. So it's Dirt Cup. Anything can happen. But yeah, last year was tough to follow. I'm really glad that we had the year that we did last year because those are really hard to come by. Winning both of the majors here, or two of the three majors here. I think we're the only ones to win Dirt Cup and 360 Nationals in 1 year. That's a huge feat, so that's really cool. Not as much worried about the spotlight as much as thankful for what we were able to do last year.
Now, you guys heard a motor last night. Are you guys all good and ready to go for tonight? What's that been like?
Yeah, we got it changed this morning and everything all serviced up before, so we're ready to go again. I mean, it's, like I say, disappointing weekend with a mag box on Thursday in the heat really set us back, and then Trey did a great job, drove us from 24th to 13th, which I thought was pretty much maximizing that run on Thursday, and then set ourselves up for a really good night again last night. Went out late, went quick time, and then passed a little bit of cars in the heat, was up to, I don't know, maybe 8th or 9th when the motor started to lay down. So kind of disappointing on my side, being the guy that, you know, tries to keep the thing from falling apart, but I don't really think that there was much that we could do there. It wasn't from a lack of effort or a lack of preparation. It just,
I think it's fantastic you hurt the motor last night. Well, otherwise it was going to happen tonight, right? Yeah. So I think the timing, if you want to look into those little bits and pieces, Colin, you know what I mean? Which would you trade, last night or tonight?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we can get through our qualifier here, you know, we'll chalk it up as okay. But hurting equipment is never fun. But we're going to do the best we can and come out firing, and it'll be what it's going to be. We've had speed the whole weekend, the way that I look at it, both time trials, main events, both days, past good cars. So I feel like we have a car that can contend for the win. We'll just see if the circumstances allow.
Your 360 car is the 410 car that you guys ran last year, and Trey's talked about that. You've been building a new 410 car. What's that process been like for you, trying to build this new car to where you were and be so successful last year?
It's taken a little bit, but honestly, probably after the second or third 410 race here, I feel like we were back to where we had confidence in it, and it's just as good of a piece to roll out of the trailer as the other one was. Jack and Bonnie at J&J do an amazing job, so it's just, you know, we don't race that much, so we'll run a car for 3, 4, 5, who knows how many years. Like, so it's like an old shoe. You just know how it fits. So we put a new one together. Like I say, it took a couple nights, but I think that we've had the speed to win and contend with these guys. Just haven't really had the luck yet.
I feel like they both nod when the other one's talking. It's like you almost know exactly what each other's thinking. It's a very similar mindset. Trey, no matter what happens this weekend for you, you're walking down the path before with your beautiful wife and 1.5 babies. You know, there's a life balance these days. I mean, 1.75, the way I'm just thinking at the moment. So hold up on that car wash there, gentlemen. We don't want to be doing that this weekend. But life is very different for you these days, and that is your perfect life balance right there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of full circle because I grew up watching my dad race, you know, every weekend. And I've said it many times before, we probably wouldn't race as much as we do now if it wasn't for the program that we've got going up here at Skagit Speedway. And so yeah, to be able to do it with my family plus my expanding family now, and my son Rowan's having a great time every time he comes to the racetrack. He can spot Dada's car on the track, and he gets very excited. So it's really cool and rewarding and full circle and all that stuff for us to be able to do it together. And yeah, it just makes it really enjoyable.
I love how the fans light up when that 55 car comes on the racetrack. It's just, there's this beautiful aura around when you pull out. I don't know if you get a sense of that or not, mate. Doesn't matter what you're doing, the fans light up, Eric. We hear it
100%.
Every time you're on the track. I think it's a cool experience.
Yeah, you guys just bring a staple car. What's it going to take for you guys to get through your qualifier here tonight?
All right, let him answer first. He'll nod his head.
We're going to need a decent start. Hope those guys get to racing, and maybe we can find somewhere that they aren't on the racetrack. It's going to take a little bit of luck, but if we put a good car out there, we'll have a chance.
So he's going to need a decent start. You're going to need to work to where someone else isn't, and hopefully you'll be in a position. Is that what I'm taking from that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not going to be easy by any stretch. I don't know exactly who they are, but I'm sure there's some heavy hitters in front of us. At that point, they might as well have, you know, no sticker on the tail tank. I need to not even know who they are. You got to drive by both of them anyway. So, yeah, going to take a good start in a fast car and some good decisions by me. So, yeah, like I said, the qualifiers are always a dogfight. Everybody knows what you're racing for. You know, the difference between that last spot in the pole shuffle and starting ninth is huge because, again, I go back to McFadden last year. I mean, the potential there is to climb your way up through the field and make it that much easier, you know, in the future. Because at the end of 2 days with this points format, you know, nobody's fallen into the top 8, so they're all difficult. So yeah, it's going to take everything going perfect, but there's always a chance.
So good to have both of them here. Please put your hands together for Trey and Colin Starks, everybody. Well, it's good to see you, mate. Good luck. Good luck, Cole. I love the way they nod their heads the whole time. They both know what each other's saying. All right, what are we doing? Bring that one back over this way. Let's put Levi in the squeaky chair.
All right, we can put Levi in the squeaky chair. I think you just want to get out of the lawn chair, and you just want.
I do want to get out of the lawn
chair.
chair.
Exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah, I do
Oh, yeah.
actually. Is he here? Right there. Good. Let's bring Chad in here as well. Chad, Dad. That just solved that problem. So this is cool. I don't know how many times you guys have done this together, but really? Well, this is cool. We had brothers before. Now we've got father and son. Chad and Levi Hillier, everybody. Please welcome our final guest on today's show. Look at you media expert now. All of a sudden you got to talk about your kid going racing. So I feel like your daughter looks a lot more like you, and I feel like you didn't even get a look in over here because he's mum's boy. First thing, I'm going to start with you, Chad. How incredibly proud you must be. I mean, yeah, you're a dad. We're all proud, but it's going well.
No, I mean, it's like a dream come true to get, for one, to be able to, the luxury of raising a good son and then having this opportunity and the great people behind him that are supporting him, and fans, everything. It's been a great journey, that's for sure.
You had a lot of people come up to you last night, I'm sure. Dennis Moore Jr. and Ashley Smith came up, and they had this look on their face like, don't let him go anywhere else. We need him in the game. How cool to have DMJ and those kind of guys, in your pit area talking about your kid. It's full circle stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, I was talking with Ashley earlier in it, and it's like, how many times were we, I was racing against Pete or Jonathan, and we're competing for the wins, and now, it's the same group of people, so it's really rewarding to have that support and that that the big racing community and family that's behind it. And I mean, like I said, it's hard to explain. Some days it's a lot of work, and you think, hey, God, is this worth it? Are we making the right choices? And then like a night like last night, it kind of puts a full circle on how the hard work pays off, and it's a great deal.
When we're kids, we watch, back in the day when there was manual gearboxes in Australia, I watched my dad do the H pattern a million times, right? It became, by the time I finally got to try that in a car, I had some basic idea. His whole 16 years, probably at least maybe 15, he's been cognizant and aware of what's going on. He's watched sprint cars do that, and he's watched people like you doing this. So to some degree, I understand that it becomes instinctive, but it's not, right? It's not like just learning the H pattern.
No, I mean, I think you're right with that. Is if you're exposed to it all the time, it becomes what you're used to and seeing. But he put in a lot of time. He's always been that way with even with the quarter midgets and everything we did. He always wanted to be in the race car. He always wanted to put in the time. He actually listens. He doesn't. Probably more the older he gets, he'll probably want to listen less to his dad, but. Up until this point anyways, he's been a great listener, and try to have the patience as a parent to teach him and guide him in the best you can. So, I mean, like I said, we're just really fortunate to have the opportunity to do this at this level.
I don't want this to sound creepy, but I've been in his bedroom, and there's a lot of trophies. I mean, a lot of them. Obviously, this has been a progressive concept. It hasn't he just didn't go boom, and he landed on Earth, and he's now a sprint car racer. No,
yeah, I mean, we did the quarter midget deal, started at 4. And then obviously up the dimming and
at what age? Just to clarify.
Well, it did the driver's training at 4 years old, and then you started actually competitively racing at 5. I mean, and he's lived up here watching racing, and he had the opportunity to do the micro stuff and still wants to play with those. And then he was Sheldon, took a liking to him, and so he's had great mentors other than me, and everybody's been very positive. And I mean, even like Trey and Colin, like first time we go to Elma or first time we're here, these guys are really good how they take these younger kids that they can see that have the interest and are trying, and they're not intimidated or I guess lack of words. They just want to help them. They want them to succeed because they remember being in the same shoes at one point.
I know we had restarts. That's what we love about sprint cars, but. For a point there, I didn't think anyone's going to blow smoke anywhere near him. Like, he had that thing matted and driving away. Do you stop sometimes and go, that's actually my little kid in that car?
No, I found myself last night, just like watching, kind of like this is real, but it's like, you're watching them carry speed through 3 and 4. Like I watched down 1 and 2, and it's like it looks like they're on the wall. And the sparks show a few times they were, but it's really rewarding, nerve-wracking at times. Your heart's racing in both in fear and for the hope of everything's going to go good. And he did a phenomenal job. I mean, one mistake and those guys capitalized, but he didn't lose his cool when that attack from 4th and 5th with Brad and Rico were all over him. He came out of that and actually come out and got back by him, and then put a charge there on McFadden at the end, which I was really proud of. I mean, you could see Brent was stalking him that whole race for like 8-9 to go. You could see he wasn't getting closer. He was just kind of waiting, keeping pace, and he was just I felt it coming. Unfortunately, I've witnessed it and felt it so many times. It's like, if we can pull out of here, when we went into the feature, it's like, let's just let's leave this feature tonight at the top 5 and worry about today. So it all worked out great. It was a very good night.
I think the turning point, Eric, was when you made me an iced mocha yesterday. I think if you do that again for me today, I still had to pay, unfortunately, but I think that was the turning point. Levi, well done, mate. Holy cow, that was so cool to watch. I mean, I can't even imagine what your mum and dad were going through, but that was super cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, racing with guys like Brent and McFadden there, and just awesome racetrack, haven't ever ran Skagit on the wall like that with a massive curb, so just, knocked the ladder out of it, bounced off just about everything out there, but it was just, it was fun. It was chaotic, kind of up on the fence, and just was happy to come home with a third. Obviously would have liked to win there, but just racing with those guys, one mistake and it cost you. So just really happy with this team and the speed that we've had this weekend. I wanted expectation just to come in and make features, and we've been doing that and running up front and just having really good speed. So just I like where we're at in points. Think if we can, hopefully win this qualifier and get in the pole shuffle, or run second and start wherever 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there, and just 40 laps is a long time to get going. So just got to be out there at the end.
When growing up in racing with your dad, what is the biggest piece of advice that he's given you or taught you?
Oh man, there's so much over the years. Ever since I started quarter midget racing at 4, and just straight through junior sprints and stuff. And I'd say just the biggest thing is just if you qualify really bad or something, just you can't change that. Just focus on the next race. It's always you can't change the past, but all you can do is predict your future. So just forgetting about what you've done before, remembering it, knowing how to fix it, but just moving on to the next step, and just keeping that forward mindset and not dwelling on the past.
You bring up future. Where do you see your future wanting to be?
Oh man, that's a tall question. I hopefully, with this opportunity that Kevin gives me, if I keep doing, keeping my head on straight and just staying humble, I think we can hopefully try and get to one of the touring series. Ever since I was 3rd grade, drawing on what do you want to be when you grow up, it was always 410 sprint car driver, World of Outlaws, high limit, all those things. So just it's always been the long-term dream, and hopefully here in a couple of years we can make it into reality. So just super grateful for this opportunity that I have. I got an opportunity that not many people get ever, so just trying to make the most of it.
What do you say to the fans who say that your sister is tougher than you? Because I have a grave fear that if there was a fist fight, that your sister would come out on top.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, she's very feisty. I think she's got a lot of my mom in her, and I feel like she may look more like my dad, but I kind of got my dad's even-keeled temperament, and my sister and mom are pretty much the same person, and it shows sometimes. So just man, she's a big supporter of me, and she's always looking up to me, and I appreciate her a lot.
Nobody in the stands can relate to what it's like to sail that thing in turn 3 on the wall. Is it fun? Like, is it a weird thing to say? You go, oh, this feels just the way I think it should feel, or are you thinking, where is everybody else? Do you ever get a moment to actually enjoy the exhilaration?
Yeah, for sure. I think, especially when you're out front like that, you're kind of just going through the motions, clicking off laps, keeping your stuff straight and just trying to carry as much speed as you can. So I think you do that for sure. And just, it was just kind of trying to set a good pace there. I knew, all these guys out there are top of the game, and they set such a fast pace with that. So just, man, I think if that race goes green to checkered and we keep going through traffic, we might have a shot to come out on top. But just the restarts were tough. The backstretch restart, if you're in second and you lag back and time it just right, you're pretty much just leaving the door open for them. So just, man, super happy with our speed and just, I felt like we were getting through traffic really good there. That was, fun splitting cars and, running around the top and stuff like that. So just, we'll keep working, and $100,000 is a lot of money, so extra motivation tonight.
Chad, the good point you made is normally a lot of times when someone's leading and they get run over, when someone goes by, they'll drop back 6th or 7th place. Normally that car ends its peak window, the driver ends it's a mental beat down that goes on. For him to haul back and still be in touch in the top 3 was probably the more impressive deal than leading it. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I think especially as a racer that understands on how fast you slide somebody and you lose your momentum, and it's like a freight train with these guys on attack, and just as tight and technical as it was on the fence and getting in behind guys in bad air at bad points, or no, it was good. I mean, it's keeping just pace all the time and making the right choices is huge. I mean, so that, I was like, obviously, the perfect scenario, the Cinderella story would have been to lead all 30 laps and to be the hometown hero, but we held our heads pretty high. I feel like that was a big accomplishment. I think it was a lot of respect from the fellow competitors and fellow teammates and crew members that, like, man, that was pretty cool to see, that to watch him not just get flustered and fall back.
And the two guys that led you home at that point were two technically outstanding drivers in Brent Marks and James McFadden. So you got to look at that, not just that, hey, I didn't win that thing and I led it early, but the two guys that got me were pretty damn good.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Brent's probably one of the best cars in the country right now. If you look at the last 10 races or so, he's been, podium every night. Won at Knoxville there a couple weeks ago. So and then McFadden, last year he about won every single race over here. So man, those guys are so good at what they do and just got so much more experience than me. So just to even, be up front with them and, keeping pace and challenging on that last restart there. I thought for sure McFadden was going to the top, so I went to go to the bottom, and then he went to the bottom too, so peeled off and, tried to get my momentum back going there. So man, those guys are so good at what they do, and just super grateful to even be out here racing with them.
Was there anything you were able to learn while you were following them in those last few laps of what maybe Brent was doing? Or
yeah, I felt like Brent was just he wasn't hammering the top. He was just being very smooth and methodical, and I feel like that's how Brent races. It just he makes no mistakes, and he just carries his speed all the time. Doesn't ever get in bad positions or put himself in bad spots. So just learn that a lot, and just man, I feel like there with how slick the track was, if you got slid, you're pretty much just a sit and duck. You couldn't really cross anyone over too good unless you got it rotated really soon. So just man, you learn. So I learn a new thing every single time I'm on the track at the moment. So just taking it all in and just getting new experience every time.
So J-Mac has the shoey. I'm thinking the chocolate milky. I'm thinking maybe if you could just chug a chocolate milk out of a boot. Your mum's just sitting up there. If you win this thing tonight and you pick up 100 large, Mum's still going to say tomorrow at some point, clean up your room, Levi, right? So there's still a reality that has to come from this. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. I'm sure, if
you just flicker a lazy 50 and say, clean it yourself.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if she'd do that. She's always held me to a bar and keep me accountable for my actions. So just, hopefully if we come out on top tonight, it'll be pretty awesome. So just, I'll definitely get a chocolate milk in there if I win.
It's incredible to think we're even talking about the possibility of this, Chad. Like, he's not blowing smoke here. He's not being over-optimistic. He's not being cocky. He knows he's got good speed. He feels confident in a race car that is a very good race car. There's a distinct possibility something crazy like this could happen, mate.
Yeah, there really is. I remember when the first kind of big payout of the 25 grand Jim Raper race, and the talk and the hype and all that, and to think that we're racing for $100,000, 2 miles from our house is just unreal, So it's a credit to the Rudines and everybody here at Skagit Speedway, John. The opportunity's real. We have the opportunity in the 26 car. There's lots of pressure, Levi does a great job letting that not get to him. You have a bad night, or I shouldn't say bad night, but it's pretty easy to start getting down. And I told him last night, he was bummed out over third. I said, son, I was probably B main lap traffic when I was running Dirt Cup up here my first few years. To see what you've done your first Dirt Cup is impressive. So hold your head high and just just keep trying. It's lap after lap every time you go out. The chances of it happening is real. I mean, anything can happen. It's fast paced. It's going to be it's going to take the perfect scenario, but it could definitely happen.
To use another iconic West Coast-based team, is this the 26 Junior? Is that what we're calling this car now?
We have an R after the 26. I don't know what that we know it's Rudine, but there's always some jokes of what it is. But no, he's definitely a junior, but he races like a very established young man, so I'm very proud of him.
He's an old guy now, mate. We just talked to Jet Barnes before. He's like literally still licking lollipops. Like, what is going on with this industry, mate? They're so good. They're not just like brave, because let's face it, no mortgage, no fear, right? But they're so good.
No, they are. I mean, Jet does a great job. We've had the opportunity to race with him. Same thing through junior sprints and the micros, and great family. And Jet's fun. It's I call them Dumb and Dumber when the two of them get together and they're riding around on their scooters. No, it's like I tell Levi. It's like, man, embrace each other, be friends. Help each other get to where you go. Be great competitors on and off the racetrack. It's you two have like the two perfect scenarios of cars to be in with the on the West Coast of the iconic 14 and the 26. It's like, and remember what opportunity you have, and not everybody's getting that opportunity, so make the most of it.
Good luck tonight. Get that damn Snapchat and clean up your damn bedroom. Levi and Chad Hill here, buddy. This is going to be an amazing night. I'm very excited to see the way it plays out. Good luck, mate. Ice mocha. Right, just like last time. Good to see you, mate. Well, Eric, that wraps up a cool pre-show. I know that Caleb has been upstairs listening in, I'm sure, to all of the banter. Boy, this chair's a lot more comfortable. Stop rocking. Didn't your mum always tell you that?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking some time to hang out with Wade and I, and thank you to all our incredible guests. We appreciate you supporting us here at the pre-race show. At this time, we ask if you're able to please clear out of the gates. Gates will reopen at 5. Take everything with you that you brought in with you, please. You're not leaving the grandstands. We'll reopen the gates at 5. Thanks so much. For Wade, I'm Eric. We'll see you later.